Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chic. And today's topic is social media and children. My guest is Kay from Need to Find Kay. She hasn't arrived yet. She's delayed for a bit, so we're going to wait for her. Excuse me. I'm off to a flying start. I'm coughing. Kay is late. Yeah. But Kay should be along shortly. I believe she's just delayed a bit. And so for those of you who are new, welcome to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chic. We are a social commentary / story time channel. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. We are yes, as I was saying, we are a social commentary / storytime channel. We focus a lot on mental health issues, but not exclusively, social issues of the day. And if you're into that kind of thing, please consider subscribing and hit that little bell thing below. I know it's completely useless, but let's give it a try, and maybe one day YouTube will start providing the notifications. Hey, Wraith, good to see you. So, today, like I said, is social media and children. Kay is delayed, like I mentioned. We will be waiting for her. Yes, please remember to give a thumbs up on this stream if you like it. And yes, I had said that I wanted to discuss on this channel social media and children. It is, hey, Fluffy. We wanted to discuss it. It is an important topic. A lot of people who watch, who are subscribed here, of course, are parents, and they have different ways of dealing with children and social media. Kay, once she gets here, she is no stranger to all of you. Many of you are subbed to her channel. Her channel is linked in the pinned comment, and she discusses mainly mental health topics and does a lot of reaction videos, mainly to the Rewired Soul. She also works as a case manager in the mental health field, as well as she is also what is known as a mandated reporter in the United States. Okay, so I thought she would bring an interesting perspective. So anyway, so while we wait for Kay, you in the chat, all of you in the chat, if you have questions that you would like to ask, feel free to indicate them in the live chat right now. For openers, also, we have a Discord server, which I will put in. For openers, also, we have. Okay, we have a Discord server, and also now might as well get the obnoxious e-begging portion of the show out of the way. Thank you, Wraith. Okay. So, yeah. So now the obnoxious e-begging portion of the show, might as well get that out of the way for right now. If you wish to support the channel, I have a Patreon, so please go check me out at Patreon. Check out the page. I provide usually videos of more of a personal nature. Sometimes it may be videos that may be released at a much later date, and I just want to test on a smaller audience. So yeah, it's more of a personal nature, these videos that I provide on Patreon. I want to thank my patrons, S, Journey to Find K, and Kim Liepert. You all rock. And I also have a PayPal for one-time donations. And thank you for putting the links in. Hey, Casey, good to see you. Okay, so anyways, those are the two ways you can support the channel should you wish to do so. Thank you very much, Wraith and Fluffy. Okay, so like I said, for right now, if you've got questions about the topic at hand, social media and children, we are going to be touching on generalities, but we're also going to be touching on what we see on YouTube, especially of recent times. Stuff from, like, for instance, the Ace family and how problematic theirs are. And, of course, I did a video about her, Amy's life journey and the alleged child abuse. We will be touching on that. We'll be touching on that a bit again today. as well as other so-called influencers. And then you have those who are so-called Instagram stars, just when they're tweens before they even hit middle school, which is a bit of a problem. Yes. Okay. Just let me check out what's happening. Okay, I think Kay will be coming along shortly. I just saw she tweeted the live stream. She just tweeted the live stream out. So she should be along there she is. There's Kay. Hi, Kay.
Hi, guys.
We have sound. We have sound.
Yes. How is everyone doing? How are you doing, Fedora, Chic?
No, I'm good today. I was just keeping the chat entertained. Just announced the usual things.
Awesome.
You know, killing for subs and doing the obnoxious e-begging portion of the show.
Yes. Hi, happy Saturday. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's feeling good.
Oh, wow. Yes, I hope everybody is feeling good. You know, a lot of people are going through the winter blues as well, and it's cold and flu season, and people are worried about the coronavirus. But we're not going to be talking about that today. You mentioned it in passing, you know, the coronavirus, but that's not the topic at hand today. We're going to be talking about like generalities. Maybe, you know, you're a parent.
Yes.
You are also a mandated reporter, and you work as a case manager for a mental health organization where you live.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I also thought we would touch upon some of the more problematic YouTubers that bring their children on, whether like the Ace family. I'm sure you're familiar. Judging by your face, you know, the one that drives a jet ski and school.
And when it comes to family channels, I just have a huge problem with them, period. I really do. And we'll get into all of that today.
We certainly will. And also, you know, given in light what's been happening, like, for instance, Amy's life journey. I already did a live stream covering the alleged child abuse, but we'll touch upon that again today.
Yes.
As well as, I'm not sure, I sent you a video from the Right Opinion about Lil Tay, the 9-year-old Instagram influencer. That quite a disturbing story.
Yes, it is. I don't know. I know I watched a documentary from someone talking about what happened to her. I don't know if it was him, because his videos are long, but they're really good. And I like when he does stuff. I don't know if it was that one, but her whole situation was, I remember when it was going down, how everybody was like, where's her parents? What's going on? And then come to find out, whoosh, it was this whole big old thing. Like, yeah, I remember.
At the tender age of 9, you know, at the tender age of 8 or 9, I think she got started at 8. And that could be compared to the child stars that we knew when we grew up with, that you grew up with, that I grew up with, you know, because a lot of the time they do turn up, sadly, they turn up screwed up. And it looks like those now, the child star is being replaced by the Instagram influencer before they hit middle school.
Yeah.
You know, and not only, like, usually most conscientious parents, at the very least, if they allow their children to have a social media account, it's usually heavily supervised. Otherwise, the parents don't allow it at all, you know.
Exactly. My kids, no, none of that. They have to argue with me just to even try to get any type of video game. Like, we're not going to just... And that's something that bothers me. It's something that, and I get it, with time that passes, you know, a lot of us, or a lot of the kids, are now so used to having internet. They're so used to having social media. We can remember when that wasn't a thing. That was something that was new and exciting. And to them, it's just like air. And I think a lot of parents, we're still trying to navigate how to handle that type of waters, but it's still, you need to handle it, period. Like, don't just try to jump all in and say, hey, I can capitalize off of it too. Like, oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Like, I remember, when was this? Oh, this was even before social media was a thing. I think it was just the days of MySpace, and that was pretty much it for social media. And I remember a friend, his daughter was about 12 at the time, and she already had her own cell phone. And this was the days of the flip phone, before smartphones. She had her own little flip phone, and she had her MySpace account, all this before high school, you know. And I remember, you know, we were my friend, the dad, he was arguing with her because he wanted her to do something. They had to go somewhere to visit, you know, go visit some people. And he was like, "You're going to like it." And he says, no phone, no. And it's like, and so you saw the girl, you know, you saw the girl, and we'll call her Emma. It's not her real name, but we got to protect her. She's now in her 20s. She's now well in her 20s. But I remember it was like, I remember a day when we didn't have computers at home. We had no internet. There was no MySpace. There were no cell phones. And she was like, huh. Of course, as social media developed, when Facebook came out and all that, she followed the trends like everybody else. And nowadays, you know what you hear from kids now? Facebook is for our parents. It's for old people. So
it's true. And there's so many different little apps that they have out there that they can use and I can tell that I'm getting older because I'm not even trying to keep up with those trends anymore. Like, I'm sorry, you're just not going to catch me on a TikTok. I'm not going to do that. Like, that's not my thing. I feel like let them have their thing, but it's just, it seems like once people started realizing that the younger generation are going to kind of latch onto this, and we see a lot of issues that come along with it. And that's why I'm so against it. It's like, I sit here, even as I'm in my early 30s. I have my family or my relatives in their like late 20s, and they were part right there where it was becoming more popular to be online. And then I see them to where it's like, you go do something, it's instantly, I got to put this on Instagram, or I got to put this on Snapchat if they still use it, or Facebook. And I'm like, can we just enjoy the moment? Can we just enjoy life? That's okay. It's okay to actually just enjoy being wherever you're at. You don't have to take a picture, but it's become so something that a lot of us look to for likes and for approval or whatever. I don't like some of the impact that it can have on the kids. And that's one of the reasons why I personally just won't do it. I'm not going to allow my children to get on. Well, I can't really say. My youngest one, he loves watching TikTok. He's 6. And I wouldn't let him do it. I wouldn't let him, but his dad does. So
oh no. So you have to do the bad cop thing, don't you?
I'm always the bad one because I'm like, people are crazy. People, you don't know what they're going to do. My boys like to play video games. And my youngest one, I'm in that thing of he wants to talk and be online and talk to his friends. They're his friends online when he's playing a video game. And one day, I'll never forget, I was in the room and he was playing Fortnite. That's his thing. Okay. And he's like, my name is Bloop, Bloop, Bloop. And I was like, oh, no. We're not going to sit here. And I unplugged the mic. I was like, no, like, we can't be having you tell everyone your name. You don't know who they are. Well, they're my friends. And I think a lot of times parents need to sit their kids down and remind them, like, people you talk to online, you don't really know them. They're not your friends. Like, you can maybe have a conversation with them, but they're not people that you should sit here and tell your whole life story. You shouldn't tell them your whole full name. And at 6, he didn't get it. He's like, well, they play the game with me. And I'm just like, well, they still don't need to know your whole name. So.
No, exactly. No, you can still play without talking to them. I don't know much about gaming, because it was never an interest of mine, quite honestly. But, you know, I'm reasonably certain you don't have to talk to them. You
don't. And that was like for the longest time, because I do, like you said, I'm kind of the good cop, bad cop kind of situation sometimes, because I'm very like, we've had this conversation before. I'm very strict. Are you really just going to sit right here? Sorry, my cat. He decided, or she decided to climb up on my bookcase. But I'm very like age appropriate what you need to do. So my oldest son, he loves video games as well, but he knew from Even now, he doesn't get to use the mic like that because you get to play games with people all over the world, especially if it's an online game like Fortnite. And older people like my partner, he talks to people, he makes friends, and I listen to the conversations they have. And I'm like, I don't need my 12-year-old or my 6-year-old hearing kind of conversations.
Well, that's the thing, you know. I mean, your partner is an adult. He is old enough to, you know, to use his judgment. You know, not that a lot of adults have great judgment, but you know, overall, we're supposed to.
Yes.
You know, cognitively, we're supposed to. But and guess who's here? Let's just address the chat for a few minutes. Okay, so we have Wraith Phoenix, Daphne Marable. We have Fluffy, the unicorn girl.
Hey.
And we have Alex from So Psyched.
Hey, Alex.
And Casey Dennis.
Hey, Casey.
And if I missed anybody, I apologize. I'm just scrolling quickly. So we go. So welcome to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chick. Welcome to the chat. We're glad to see you here. So that's the topic, as you guessed, social media and children. And for those who were here at the onset, I pretty much described what we're covering. And Kay is covering her own experience as a parent, as you heard right now. If you have your own experiences as parent, please share them in the live chat. And also, for those of you who are parents, just put a 1 in the chat so I can see. Just put a 1 in the chat, and so we can see you all. And if you actually want to add something to the discussion, please feel free to do so. Okay, sorry to interrupt you, dear.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
No,
you were saying, you know, we were saying that adults are supposed to have a better judgment. So it's one thing if your partner talks to the people he's playing games like Fortnite with, but it's quite another for children like 12 and 6, which I believe you said your boys are. You know, and of course you don't allow your, you know, you were talking about your youngest wanting to be on TikTok because your ex allows them to.
Yes, it's so much fun. And then I'm looking at the things because you'll hear things that it's like, F this. And I'm like, whoa, what are we watching? And he'll be like, TikTok? No. Let's get on something else. We're watching Netflix. Let's get on Hulu. Like, we're not doing that.
Okay, yeah. Casey was just saying, I'm not a parent, but I look back at the chat rooms and the people I talked to. There were a lot of creeps and pedos. Oh, that's a word I'm not supposed to say on YouTube, but anyways. But I didn't know this at the time. Looking back, though, and Amy says, correct, Casey, I noticed it too after I got older.
Oh, yes. I was guilty of that as well. And that is something like in high school, you remember when all of a sudden like Yahoo had chat rooms and AOL had the chat rooms. And I would sit there and talk to people. I'm like, I'm too cool for the guys in high school. I'm going to talk to the guys online. And now I look back and I'm like, y'all were grown talking to no. And having that experience is what helps. Even though, Casey, you're not a parent, even if you think of being one later on, that's something you could use to kind of be like, I've been there, I've done that. I know what these people can be about. Because, of course, at the time we feel like, oh, we're so cool because someone older than us is putting interest or talking to us. It literally, as much as I don't like talking about Onion Boy, it could have been one of those types of situations with Onion Boy. You know what I mean? Like how his alleged victims will say were dealing with him and were underage because they were talking to him on chat lines. And I was doing the same thing, sitting there on my little computer during class and talking to someone who's 30 something years old, thinking that made me cool. And now I look back, that was kind of gross. That there's something wrong with him. He should not have been trying to entertain a 16, 17-year-old girl. Like,
no, they shouldn't have. I mean, what happened? I could give you an example. It was last year, almost a year ago. And I'm not going to mention any names because one of them has actually moved on and gone in a different direction, and she had her baby already. But at the time she was pregnant and she had to cease all her medication because, you know, for the safety of the fetus. We all know a lot of these medications for mental illness are not good for the fetus, you know, and so she was. And she was accusing somebody of being a predator because he was hanging out on TikTok. An adult, not a kid, you know, an adult hanging out on TikTok. And I didn't know what TikTok was at the time, honestly. I had no freaking idea. He was advertising it as a good mental health channel outlet, you know, and I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah.
But she was accusing him. She was getting a lot of flack. And I always have been of the belief that you know, a broken clock gets the right time twice a day. But what if she's right and nobody's listening to her? You know, what if she's right? So I kind of went undercover on TikTok to see what this was about. Okay. I didn't notice anything nefarious about his account in particular. It was quick mental health motivational videos. Like, I don't know how you can discuss mental health in under 30 seconds, but it was basically a clip on TikTok. And it's obviously made for people with short attention spans. And it was, you know, and it was when it was Musically, even back in the days when it used to be Musically, it was an app for children. It was marketed to kids as young as 9. Now, TikTok, because they too, like YouTube, ran amok of COPPA laws, and the FTC nailed their asses too to the wall, or the parent company. Now, the fine they got, in my opinion, was a joke considering what the parent company was worth.
How much was it?
Like a $5 million fine, but the company is worth.
Yeah.
You know, but still to look like they're doing something, you know. But I know people can use the defense. Well, guess what? Facebook has predators. YouTube has that too. But and I'm not going to disagree with that. It's true. I've seen it. But in the 2 days, I think TikTok was the one where I had to report most, like for me, to report most of the accounts, because they were like creep ass middle-aged men. One of them calling himself Uncle Bubblegum. I think most of us remember the story of the Budday. Okay, there are plenty of videos about the Budday on YouTube. Now, guess what? Okay, and I checked again recently on TikTok for the Budday still has an account. He's not posting any content anymore, but he still has an account.
I have an issue with a lot of these platforms. It's just I get it. A lot of people always will take it back to parent responsibility, which is true. You do need to make sure you're watching your children. You need to supervise them to make sure that they're doing things that you wouldn't want them. They're not doing things you wouldn't want them to do, and all of that stuff. But I still feel like a lot of these companies need to put some type of safeguards, need to actually have some type of plan of actions for things when it comes to their attention that there might be some, you know, illegal or criminal or suspicious behavior that's happening on those platforms. Everyone wants, a lot of times they try to move to, oh, well, it's a free country, freedom of this, you can do that. But yeah, that you can do that, but that doesn't release you from consequences. If you're doing something sus or suspicious on any of these platforms, you should have a consequence of possibly being deplatformed. Like, I'm not saying do it right away or whatever, but when it comes to certain situations, especially when it comes to minors, I think that's something we shouldn't hesitate on. It's like, but everyone wants to always just move it towards, you know, parent responsibility, which I do agree with as well to an extent, but there still has to be some responsibility on these websites, these platforms, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, let's see. The chat has been adding some stuff. So let's address that. Okay, hang on. Let me scroll up. Sorry if I don't get to you. Yeah, Casey Jenna said Yahoo was the worst.
It was.
It was so psyched is agreeing with everything you're saying. Casey, the internet has done great things, but at the same time, it's opened a lot of avenues for. I gotta not say that. Oh, I've already. Maybe it's too late. I already said it. One of the many verboten words on YouTube. One of the many verboten words. Yeah, Predators. And I'm not going to spell it out the whole time because it's going to be too long. Okay, and probably I'll forget how to spell it properly. Anyway, yeah. Okay, Fluffy's agreeing. Alex says Jesus never accidentally deletes his work on the computer. Know why? Because Jesus says bad. I don't know what that means. Okay. So Psych says she's here every Saturday. Oh, cool. 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 Oh, yeah. There's a Casey says there's a nurse that said you need Jesus. You won't be depressed or have anxiety.
Oh,
Right.
goodness.
Right.
I won't even into all of that.
And Alex, of course, says mental health on TikTok. Now I've seen everything. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, like I said, I didn't see anything nefarious. It was mainly quick little motivational.
Yeah.
I never saw anything nefarious because I always believe if you're going to even, and I try even as back in the days when I was a political blogger, as much as I might hate somebody, I try not to let that bias. It's hard. It's hard. I try not to let that bias. But, if you're going to call somebody publicly something like a PRED or a PEDO, those are very heavy charges. And even if nothing comes of it legally, it can stick with you. The internet is forever.
Yep.
So that's why I decided to check for myself, because I didn't like that there's the two things. I didn't want him getting a bad rap if it was not necessary. But also I didn't like all the flack she kept getting thrown her way.
Yeah.
So because like I said, a broken clock can be right twice a day. So that's what I saw. Yeah, TikTok is full of nefarious, unsavory characters. A lot of accounts I had to report. And I don't think I've reported as many accounts on any other platform as I've had with TikTok,
That's
like somebody like the Bud A, for instance, wouldn't even have an account on any other platform. At least I'd like to believe that. I'd like to tell myself that. But the Bud A still had an account, There's no content, but I saw it, his name. And but there was nothing nefarious about this particular guy who was the accusations. It's just, I don't know.
It's probably just the fact that they were on TikTok, and a lot of people know that TikTok was mainly aimed at children. Now we see a lot of adults on there doing their different things and stuff like that. But even I still say, nope, I'm not doing that because I know it's for the kids. Like I can't justify myself hopping onto that actual site because I see my 6-year-old likes it, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. There's no reason for me to be on there.
Okay, hang on, Alex. Alex, it was just as a joke, as a reply to Casey. Oh, okay, okay, cool. She said a nurse said Jesus would heal your depression, BS in brackets. So I have a short joke. No worries, not to be taken seriously. That's cool, Alex. Casey, I'm 31. I'm too old for TikTok.
Right. Sometimes I feel too old for the other websites too.
Well, what are the other ones that are, maybe not as marketed as young as TikTok? The kids love to use the Snapchat because I guess they love the filters. Putting on bunny ears, that's why I don't have Snapchat. I just don't see the thrill of putting my mugshot with bunny ears or,
Them filters come in handy sometimes. Them filters do come in handy.
Instagram is pretty much a young one too. Look at all these young ones like Lil Tay. That is one hell of a disturbing story, the Lil Tay. And, but that's where they're getting their stardom from on Instagram.
Another one that always bothers me is, almost lost her. Her name, what is she? She's the one everyone's saying she's 15, or actually maybe 13.
Danielle Cohn.
There we go. That is a situation too where I wish I knew them personally, to where I would have to have a conversation with their parents. When you say that's an issue. Like I don't like people. I get you want to, maybe your kid has some type of goal of being famous or something like that. There's different routes to do it, but lying about their age, putting them in some type of sponsorships that she is in that basically sexualizes her under a young age, knowing that this is the internet and you don't know how old anyone truly is, looking at your child. That is one of those types. Every time I hear about her, I wish I knew who her mama was, because she could Woo! I wouldn't, no, I can't, because I don't care how much money you're making. You're still putting your child, and you're putting your child in this dangerous situation to get exploited, to just because what you get 100, maybe a couple $1,000 for a sponsor post, you get views, you get AdSense, and I don't, even when it comes to teenage, when she first came out, everyone thought she was 15, but come to find out you were really 13. And then you had
there was a faked pregnancy story out of this too.
Yes, had a boyfriend who was 17, almost 18 at the time. Like, if I would have had a boyfriend at that age, if I was even allowed to have a boyfriend at that age, let me walk in the door with someone who was 17. I would have gotten in so much trouble. Like, what is wrong with you? Do you know how old he is? You are middle school. You barely hit teen. You're 13. You just hit that. And you're trying, like, just to see that whole situation play out is disturbing, because it's like, mom, where is the parenting? Like, where is that parenting? Maybe we need some parenting classes to understand that that is not okay. Yes, you want to be, maybe your daughter wants to do this. This is something she enjoys, but you shouldn't lie. You should be careful of the content that you're putting her in, the content that you're posting, because this is a whole thing I hate is you start out young, you want to make this money, but then who are you influencing? You're influencing other young people who are getting this idea to where now, if I do what she does, or the catch me outside girl, I have an issue with her. I don't like her, bad baby, whatever her name is, because she ended up getting popular off of just being a bad little girl that needed some discipline.
Absolutely.
Like, and then you see, and then you have the Woe Vickies of the world. You see all of these young teenagers who got big off of, to me, lack of parental guidance, letting them say, hey, we can just do whatever we want to do because they want to make money. And you're influencing other people who are their age or younger, thinking that they can do that and behave that way and put themselves out there on this wonderful internet to get big and be famous. Just like you were saying about little Tay. She's only 9 and she was out here, I'm balling and I'm doing this, cursing people out at 9 years old. 9 years old, I was barely trying to do work.
You were seeing her like with this very expensive sports car, and hearing clips flashing out like a lot of money, you know, a lot of cash. And I'm 9 years old, and we ran into a lot of terrible issues. You know? And this was predictable. I mean, anybody wouldn't predict such a thing, because it was not just the fact of her young age; it was the type of content itself that was problematic.
Yes, it's like, even though you're young now, we all know Ryan's Toys. He is the richest YouTuber, and he's only 11, 12. I don't have an issue with him because he's reviewing toys. He made content for kids. His parents, they made sure, like, now I don't like, I have my own thing about kids on camera and stuff like that, but they at least tried their best to where he's reviewing toys, he's talking about toys, he stayed kind of in his lane. You're a little kid talking about toys, your demographic is kids and toys. My sons watched him for years because they liked the type of toys he would buy, things like that. That type of thing, cool. But that is one of the rare instances where I'm like, I can agree with that, because you didn't come out and try to act older than you are. You weren't putting yourself in these scandalous situations. You behaved your age. Your parents were there with you throughout this entire thing. Awesome. But then you have the other ones to where it's like, the only reason I feel you have your kids on camera is to benefit from them being on camera, because they're cute, or, you know, people are like, oh, those babies, and they want to watch the babies. Where's that beneficial? You know, if you want to have a kids channel, have a kids channel that consists of the same, like, what they need to be doing. They're doing toys or playing with their Nerf guns. Awesome. I have no issue with my kids watching that. There was plenty of the family channels out there where they were teaching them colors. They were teaching them how to read, things like that. Awesome, but I don't need you to sit here and try to sell me a Bang Bros energy drink or non-caffeinated energy drink in a swimsuit. Like, I don't need that.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, exactly. You know, and there was another young Permink did a video about this person. What was her name? Let me take a look at my notes.
Yeah.
Venus Angelic, the living doll. You see, this was a Swiss content creator. I believe she got her start when she was just 12 or 13. And believe it or not, and her mother was behind the whole thing and was in a lot of the videos. It got to a point when the girl grew up, she ended up having to separate from her mother because her mother, this is the case where the mother was bad news.
Yeah.
From Switzerland. Venus Angelic was basically, apparently it was a thing to give yourself a makeover to look like a doll. Like, how sick is that? There were tutorials on how to make yourself look like a doll. Like, this is beyond anime here.
Yeah, yeah.
I will link Premink's video in the pinned comment below once we jump off.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting story because Premink at a young age himself, I think he's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
He does some great in-depth commentary as well.
He does. I like his little voice. I don't know why his voice is just like you think he's like a little innocent person.
He's 40. Yeah. But no, I think he's college aged. No, he is college aged. And and that was her name, Venus Angelic, and it was it was obvious mom was behind it.
Yeah,
mom was behind, and this was the thing to make her look like a doll, like the clothes, the hair, the makeup. There were tutorials on how to look, and that too got all problematic. And yes, the living doll was also sexualized.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, as a parent, you should understand that even though it may start off as innocent, part of me feels like after a while you see where it's leading, you see the road that it's going to, and you have a duty to stop and not do that any longer. Let's not put our kids in these situations. And I feel like that's topics a lot of people need to, or a lot of parents need to understand, is things that we do to our kids they mess them up into adults. Like, these are things that we carry on for a long time. Things that we show them is acceptable, they will continue to think that is acceptable and leave the door open for people to take advantage, for people to use that against them because, oh, mommy and daddy thought this was okay to make money or to make videos or whatever the case is. And that's a problem. That is a problem. Your child's mental health, their well-being should be the first thing on your list. If you want to if you want to make a channel, you want to do that, put them on social media, do it, but make sure that it's what the child wants to do and you are consistently reevaluating and assessing if this is the best route you need to take. Because if not, then you need to get off that platform. Like,
in the case of Lil Tay, Venus Angelic, Danielle Cohn, not only were their parents gung-ho for it, but their parents it was quite obvious they were using their children as meal tickets. Now, we saw this with the old child stars of the day.
Yeah.
The parents are their managers, and the parents are not acting, at least not financially, in their children's best interest. So, we're seeing the same thing now with the kid influencers, which, they are child stars, and the consequences are just as dire, and it doesn't help when the parents are relying on the kids' income. We're going to support them, right? Everything okay?
That's my kitty.
Oh, okay. That's the thing. I mean, we saw this even with Eugenia Cooney, and she was of majority age when she started, for God's sake. She was already of majority age, but we see that, we have to say alleged, we don't know for sure, but it is highly
alleged.
We have to because we don't want to get sued, although it's hard, next to impossible to launch that kind of lawsuit in Canada. But you're in the United States, so
that's a different cry over here.
You're in the United States, I'm in Canada, Canada, these kind of suits are unheard of. But yeah, we've seen this, and it's just as reprehensible as well, And I have to question some of the, even the family vloggers that put their kids, like the Ace family.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand. I don't see how people call it a family channel. I don't understand how it's really a family channel where you're just doing antics and your kids every once in a while pop in and out. Maybe you have a video with them doing something like, oh, look at no, you capitalized off of the fact that you had cute babies and people wanted to see your cute babies online. And so now it's, oh, we have a family channel, but I don't see much family interactions. I don't like, I can't, like, I don't like.
I think it's basically a channel to boost up Austin Big ego, you know?
Yeah.
They're like the antics, like riding a jet ski and an infinity pool. Like I said, it's marketed as a family vlog, therefore marketed or branded as a family channel.
Yep.
So it's like there's not the usual kids don't try this at home, you know. We're gonna ride a jet ski on an infinity pool and then we're gonna cause a mudslide on the neighbors down. And the other things, you know, there are so many other problematic. They're not honest people.
No, not at all.
Even the wife, Catherine, is problematic. And this is being marketed as family entertainment. And
pushing towards their kids, and the people who watch them are majority young and think that that's something to aspire to. Like they even just announced, and I know this might sound kind of like cynical or whatever, but they announced they're having a whole nother baby. And I was like, oh, now they made sure they definitely are going to keep their subscribers.
Yeah, like have a baby for views. A very cynical way to put it, but unfortunately, evidence in front of us, you know, makes us
it's what it seems like,
you know, let's have a baby for more views and clout. Because their young daughter, Elle, is maybe getting too old. I don't know.
Not that they might fear losing that fear or that cuteness factor, but also, you know, people like seeing babies. They want to see when a baby's born. They want to see when they get bigger. You can capitalize off of the walking, the talking, the different things that your older kids are already doing. Like I said, it's just my opinion, but I feel like, oh, that was very convenient, you know, having another child that you can now put on your channel again and continue to exploit for your young viewers. And that's just the same with like that whole Jake Paul situation that had just happened, talking about mental health. He started off, him and his brother, weren't they both young, like kids or whatever? They were
reminding them their father, Papa Paul. Their father, you know. Yeah.
And then now they have these big followings of young people that they continuously exploit. And they're an example that younger kids, they want to hop on this platform or they want to do YouTube because, hey, he's been able to get big. But every other video is spend your money, get my merch, do that. And it's like, like that's a whole nother reason because I don't like my children on like social media like that, is because you're constantly, you have the people they like are the Jake Pauls and the, you know, the energy and yelling all the time, who are constantly like, buy this, do this, go ask your parents for this. And I'll have my youngest one definitely come up, be like, I want this. Like, no, you're not getting that. Like, I want to do this. Like, I've watched my 6-year-old sit there with his little play phone. We always give him a little play phone to play with, to watch, play games and stuff. And he'll sit there with his little play phone and be like, hi guys, how are you? Like, oh, we think we're going to be a YouTuber. Is that what we think we're going to do? And he'll just be like, I'm going to show you my toys. And I know he gets that from the people he's watching on YouTube, the things that he interacts with on social media that he's allowed to interact with. And I think I always make sure, and I pay attention to the content. I make sure my boys know, like, whatever you watch on YouTube, you're on like your kids' YouTube and you have my YouTube. I can see every video you watch. I can see the content that you're watching. If I don't agree with it, I'm gonna block it. They're tablets. If you are downloading games or you're watching videos I don't like, I'm gonna block it, because I sadly understand how when you're a kid, you want to grow up so fast. And I feel technology doesn't help that situation, but it's also there's still that young naiveness they have, thinking everyone is good. They think that majority of people aren't going to hurt them. And I have to constantly remind them, like, there are still bad people out there. There are still people who they may seem nice, but they can still hurt you in the end. Absolutely. Like, you need, like, remember, and it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm kind of fear mongering, like, people are bad. Like,
children, I don't think we can be too careful regarding their online activity. I mean, let's address the chat for a second. Alex, so psyched. He said, we stand for mink. Okay. Yes, we will. Like I said, I will have his video about Venus Angelic in the pinned comment as well.
Definitely.
Amy remembers Venus. Her mom was a stage screen mom. Oh, hell yeah. Alex also said, Alex gave us an update on Venus. Venus is now living in Japan and has absolutely no contact with her mom, thankfully. Yeah, right. I do remember that being mentioned, that Venus distanced herself from her mother. Amy's glad she got away with her. Casey Dennis, the mom said such horrible things about her own daughter because she couldn't control her anymore. So sad. Oh, well.
That bothers me.
Yeah, let's take a moment to feel sorry for her, Venus's mom. Moment over. No, it's because this is clearly a case of the mom, once she relinquished control and her daughter decided to choose her own path, like going to Japan, for instance. That means I'm sorry to say this, once again, the cynic in me, meal ticket.
Yep, there goes the meal ticket. It reminds me of, and I guess I'm going to show our age here, but remember back in the day with Macaulay Culkin and how he had that whole thing where he had to sit here, and it was so public. He emancipated himself, basically divorced himself from his parents because they sat there and really were, taking advantage and understood he's making us money and they're spending all his money while he's doing the hard work. And I think a lot of parents, I think the internet made it so easy for people to be able to maybe blow up or start earning some type of an income doing stuff on social media that they put that to the side of your children's best or what's best for their kids and get blinded by all the money that comes in. And it's like, no, let your kids be kids. If they want to do it, cool. But also you are still the parent. You're not just their manager. You're not someone who is just negotiating these deals for them. And if that's the case, hire someone else to do that. Because if it was me in those type of situations, I'd be like, you want to be on social media? Let's hire someone to help you do this correctly, because I'm still your mama and I'm not going to put myself in the place to where I might be blinded by the dollar signs that come in, that I might be blinded by the views and the money, the lifestyle that we're now able to afford. That, no. I can't.
No, exactly. And the same thing happened, like even back in my generation. Yeah, I'm giving away my age. There was a show called Different Strokes. And there was the child star, the young Gary Coleman. And his tagline was, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Yes.
That was his tagline. What you talking about, Willis? And he was like this cute, chubby, cheap kid.
He was. And
he got roles also in made-for-TV movies and other television shows. But I think he got his start in a 70s show called Good Times. But he was made famous on Different Strokes.
Yep.
But what ended up happening with this poor kid, I mean, not only because child stars were not paid well at all back in the day, but with the money he did make, his parents were his managers and they were like fleecing him dry.
Yep.
And I know he ended up suing his parents later on, and he didn't recover very much from that lawsuit. And so that's another thing, And so what we're seeing now with the child influencers, with the parents pushing on, because they're using their children, they're making money off their children, probably fleecing from them as well.
If they're underage, most of that money goes to the parents.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying there aren't good ones out there. Yeah, you're not saying there aren't good parents out there who are doing things possibly properly, but it's still, I don't know, a maybe situation.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, Alex. Alex says, I have to go for my nightly walk before they lock the doors at night. Bad internet connection out there. So I'm going to drop out. Everyone have a wonderful night. It was such a lovely time. Yeah, the stream will remain up, Alex. You'll be able to watch to the end of it later whenever you can. Yeah.
Bye,
Alex. We wish you the best.
Yes.
We wish you the best. Casey, look at the family that would play pranks on their kids, but it was traumatizing, all for money.
Oh, yeah.
Daddy of 5?
Yeah.
Daddy of 5. I think he's still on the platform, but the kids are no longer living with him because I think CPS ended up, it got their attention. I think they stepped in. The kids are not living with him anymore, mercifully. But you saw that the kids were being.
I couldn't watch it. Like I
No.
watched a couple of examples. I was like, no, what are you doing? Like, let's just set our kids up for, you know, needing therapy down the line. Like what, like why, how is this to you entertainment? Like I get pranks and doing pranks, but there's a line. And yeah, when that whole thing went down, that was one of those things, because I'm not all for, because like you shared before, I'm a mandated reporter. It's something that if I notice something with any of my clients, with my, especially when it comes to kids, you know, it is my duty to, I will staff it with my supervisor just to make sure I'm not like jumping the gun. But if they're like, yeah, and they back me up on it, I will call DCS on people. And that situation was one of those where I was like, yes, that needed to happen. And I'm glad the local authorities stepped in, because because, you know, you don't try to automatically look at people online and say, I would call if that was you, because, you know, you always want to give parents the benefit of the doubt. We understand what you see online isn't everything all the time. But that was just one of those where I was like, thank goodness someone called, got the ball rolling, because I would have did the same situation if I was in that area, because to see kids break down the way they did and the way he was acting towards them, that's traumatizing, and that's not okay for the purpose of
Well, yeah,
I can't see myself breaking my child, you know.
No, and we saw disturbing footage. You know, I mean, not from you know, I saw from other commentary channels, and there were clips like of I think the youngest child. I think his name was Cody, the youngest boy. Like the so-called pranks. Like the father was getting physical with this poor kid. The father was getting physical with this kid. And like it was horribly disturbing. And the father, this is an example, once again, he's trying to put up a family entertainment channel. You know, me and my boys are going to play pranks on each other, but when the pranks turn abusive, borderline abusive, this is what happened with Daddy of Five.
Yes. And it makes you think, and it makes you look, which is why I was very happy that someone contacted them that knew them in the area to get people out there to check. Because it's like, if this is what's online, what you're putting online, what is happening offline? If you think this is acceptable content for YouTube, these pranks and you yelling in the way that you're behaving towards your children, what are you doing when the camera's not rolling? So to see how that played out, I think that was one of a good example of like, yes, look at the look at the justice system working, you know, in the proper way. Because now I remember you brought up the whole Amy's life journey earlier a little bit.
Yeah.
That situation.
Yeah, because she was, you know, I mean, it's not just that she had her kids on camera in the car. I mean, this is a case of her ego getting, you know, becoming more important than her children. Addressing her haters. Sorry, my screen froze. I don't know if anybody can see and hear me.
We can still see and hear you. You're good. Can you hear me?
Oh.
You're still here. You're still here.
You're
still here. I don't know if she can hear me.
Shoot, sorry about that. My screen completely froze.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
My screen froze. My computer as it gets older, it has a mind of its own, and it does weird things.
Yeah, no, you're fine. We could see you.
Yeah. No, this computer is super old. But anyways, so Amy's life journey. So this is a case, you know, she digs herself into a deeper hole each time, and this is the thing. She deeps her, you know, so she would not only have her kids on camera, but there would be questionable behavior that would lead us to believe. And I did a video not long ago. It was a live stream covering, you know, Amy's life journey, alleged abuse, you know, like from last year called Going to Portland. This was not even edited out, just the camera shoved out of the way, but still we could hear the child in distress. We could hear like a thud, which is interpreted that she hit the child. We heard the thud. Now, do we know for sure 100% that she hit the child? No, but just the sound of it, we can reason any reasonable person.
Yes. And you leaving it in there is going to have people believe that. Like, you edit your own videos. You didn't think that's something that people might not take the right way, you know, if you leave that in there.
Plus the video that was on Twitter of her waving a wooden spoon around in the car with her children in the back seat, the wooden spoon. And
what did she say that was the excuse for that again?
Pardon me?
What did she say was the excuse for the wooden spoon again?
She said she used it to threaten them. Well, she didn't use the word threaten, let's be fair. But she said she used it basically to keep them in line. I don't remember the exact wording, but you know my short-term memory is crap. But yeah, something along the lines that she uses it to keep them in line.
So you basically, okay. So I can see why people have an issue with that. If you have a wooden spoon, how many stories have we heard from kids, basically even from my own generation growing up, to where the wooden spoon was what you got your butt whooped with. Your parents had a wooden spoon.
Yep.
They had belts. Yep. They had switches. In my case, there was an electrical cord. Like, there's things that you use. So you saying I'm using this to keep my kids in line. There's not that far of a leap for people to think that you are hitting your children with this spoon. And that's the whole other aspect of having your kids online. Like, now she's talking about she doesn't want them on there. And because of this stuff, she got upset at people saying, you're trying to get my kids taken away. Well, rightfully so. People who live in your area, and if you see something like that, it makes me happy that people are willing to have this conversation, call these authorities on her to get her checked out. Because I know, me personally, if I knew where she was at and knew like her area, I would call, because that is something that is to me a warning sign that you are hitting your children with a wooden spoon. Like,
we're advertising this in a freaking video.
Yes. And like, oh no, it's just my way of keeping them in line. Those type of words are implicit of you using them as some form of discipline. So you can't be mad at people and get on your live or get on your platform and say, oh, now you guys are just making things up or looking for things to have my kids taking away. No, it's something that you put on your platform that you chose not to edit out. You chose to upload onto Twitter that is problematic for a lot of different reasons, and people are concerned, and they are allowed to call, DCS to share these concerns, to have them check in on your children's well-being. And if you don't like it, then we shouldn't be waving wooden spoons talking about it keeps them in line online. Like, we shouldn't be doing that. And I think that is a whole nother aspect that we have to think of when we're talking about kids being online, because you don't, like we always say, from like the bad way of we don't know who's looking but are watching them or looking at them online, but you also, in the good way, you don't know who's looking. There's plenty of us out here who work in mental health, who are mandated reporters, teachers, social workers, things like that, who come to YouTube, enjoy things, to watch people enjoy their content. If we see something that's problematic, most of us morally are going to say something that's not okay. Like,
right, exactly. I mean,
it's kind of a double-edged sword.
And then she comes out and she blames us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to rehash the entire video. I'll put that video in the pinned comment if you want to see it. So we're not going to rehash completely. But I did want to gloss over it because this is a classic example of other things that, can go horribly, horribly wrong. And I mean, in this case, she basically outed herself, as a problematic parent.
And that's something, as parents, we need to just kind of be cognizant of. If we're thinking of putting our kids online, you have to be prepared. You have to be ready for the good and the bad that comes along with it.
Exactly.
Period. You have to be ready for people criticizing your parenting. You have to be ready for people looking into different things. Maybe they don't agree with the way you parent and say, hey, because it's subjective sometimes, they might not agree and they might have some stern words or things they want to share with you, some criticisms. You have to be open to that. And if you're not open to hearing people share these things, then do not put your children on your platform or on any platform. If you're not open to hearing people talk about these things or question you or say, hey, give you suggestions, then they shouldn't be on social media.
No, exactly. I mean, before we go on, just let's address the chat because of the people have got a lot to say here. So let's address them. Hang on. Casey, early on, she said, these people get kids and I have to jump through hoops to conceive. Yeah, that is a sad reality. And I'm sorry to hear, Casey. And I wish you the best. I hope you do manage to conceive. All right. Fluffy, unicorn girl. Casey, I feel you, girl. The ones who don't deserve them, children, have many, but the ones who would have to have just one can't have any, and it's BS. Yep. This is a true, right? I see so many questionable parents. Those are the ones that usually have tons of children. And I noticed that too, actually, Casey. When I used to work, I was a secretary. I have to be clear. I was a secretary. I was not a social worker, but I did assist frontline social workers in my administrative duties. And I would notice this too. You know, these people, they have like tons and tons of kids. They can't take care of any of them. They can't take care of any of them. Yeah. All of them end up in care. You know, because there's so many children, we can't keep them together realistically. I mean, as much as possible. And yeah, absolutely. That is a sad reality. They keep having children and they can't take care of any of them, or they're raising them in problematic ways. And yeah, and plenty of good people who would likely make great loving parents can't have them. You know, we were noticing that. And then the others, moving right along, they changed the topic a bit. They were talking about how they too were subjected to corporal punishment.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So many questionable parents. Yeah, so that's what they were talking about as well. Yes, Amy or Fluffy, if you could put the Discord link or Wraith Phoenix, if you're still there. Any of my mods, really. If you can put the Discord link in, please do so. And please do so. Yes, we have a Discord server. 18 and up only. You see another example. I don't allow children. I don't allow teenagers in my Discord server. And I'm going to get to that very shortly. I'm going to get to that very shortly. Why my server is adults only. But yeah, if either of you can put the either of my mods can put the Discord. Thank you, Amy. Good, appreciate it. Also, quickly, the obnoxious e-begging portion of the show. If you wish to support the channel, you may do so with PayPal or with Patreon. I have a Patreon. Shout outs to my patrons S, my guest, Journey to Find K as well, and Kim Leipert. So patrons as well. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. But yeah, so now, I guess this is a good way to segue into why my Discord servers for adults only. Because a lot of the Discord servers do allow teenagers, or they might have an NSFW rooms. But overall, we allow kids in the servers. And the reason I do not allow kids in my server.
Nope. Okay,
the reasons I do not, like, all my rooms are NSFW. No exception. Is because my Discord server, I meant it for, it was intended for people to have a safe space, adults to have a safe space to vent, because they can't ordinarily in their everyday lives with people in real life in their immediate environment. And it's to give people a safe space to turn. It could be people with mental health issues, recovering addicts, people with chronic illness, you know, that sort of thing. People who are just lonely or just considered marginalized in society. And there was a mental health server, or they deemed themselves as a mental health server, but there were a lot of kids in it, and I wasn't comfortable with that.
Yeah, no.
And I remember one night going in, I was like, is there anybody home? You know, basically, is there anybody home? I want to talk to somebody. And the only person that greeted me was a 15-year-old. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell freaking no. That's not happening. And from what I had seen to date, there were no such Discord servers that catered only to an adult audience. that from what I've seen. So I thought I'd cater. So I thought, I would start one that catered only to adults so we can be safe. But it's also to keep, kids safe, because at the end of the day, it's not like I'm running a secret society.
Yeah.
And so anybody can join that's over 18. You have to kind of click a few ways to prove,
Mm-hmm.
And for that to happen, I'd like to, to keep the kids out, keep the kids out, because at the same time, I don't really know. Like, so far, I've got a great membership. I know pretty much who everybody is. But, as it grows, there's going to be new people, and there are going to be people I don't know.
Yeah.
And could they be questionable? It could happen. I mean, we can do our best.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's also, I think it's best to keep kids out of that milieu,
Setting down those guidelines early makes it easier once you do start growing and getting bigger and bigger, because if you wouldn't have started it out 18 and up now and then tried to do it later, at least now, if it is someone questionable comes in, they're not talking to anyone that's underage. At least everybody's an adult. Well, technically, legally an adult. So I definitely get why you did it. It was smart. Because you see too many other examples of people running into issues, talking to these little young kids on Discords and stuff like that. Nope, don't need that for your life.
No, and that is exactly why my Discord server is for adults only.
Yeah.
But back to what we were talking about. Where did we leave off basically before the Discord and all that? Amy's life journey. Mm-hmm. So, and then she comes out and blames us. And that's the same thing. She's not alone. I think Daddy of 5 also blamed his audience.
Because I get it. No one wants CPS to be called on them. No one wants to go through the whole inquiry and, showing them that they're not this way or that. I understand it, but you need to sit down and really look at, you still have to be able to have that insight as to why. What was the reason these people might call? What is the reason why they're coming to see you? And I deal with this even with my current my current clients now, where they have DCS involvement, and I look at them like, hey, let's not focus on the fact that someone called, like, oh, why are they not minding their business? Let's look at the reason why they are here. What do they want from you? What are they trying to have you maybe implement or learn or understand, so that this way it doesn't happen again? Because, and that is a pattern. That is a pattern that I've seen. And even I've had DCS called on me before for my son's school. Like, that was a whole thing, and it was annoying, and I went off on them because that's a whole they take advantage of it.
Response. Just a second. Daphne Marable, this is a question I think you're better placed to answer than I am.
You froze up for a second.
What? Are we okay?
Yeah, now we're good. Okay, what did she say?
Daphne asks, when kids are taken away, do the parents get mandatory psych help? In my case, when I was working, some of them did, some didn't. It depended on the case. Can you go more into detail for your case?
It's exactly like you said. It's dependent on the case. So, I currently have a couple of clients where they don't have to, and I have a couple of clients that do. It goes off of what the actual accusations or what they're checking into the family about. I personally tell a lot of my clients to do it anyway, because it can help their case. It does look like they're going above and beyond, but it's just depending on what the actual allegations are and what each jurisdiction of DCS is different within the state, each state. So some of them might make it do it automatically, but out here where I'm at, it's based off of, most cases, it's based off of what's going on, what the allegations are. I personally tell them to do it anyway, though, just so that.
Exactly. Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. That would be working. Like I said, it was never up to me. I was just a secretary. But yeah, it depended on the case too. Back when, my observations when I used to work at the Department of Youth Protection. That's what we call it in Quebec.
Yeah.
Here in Quebec, Canada. But every province, again, has a different name for it. CAS, and many of them called Children's Aid Society. So, it's a different name in different jurisdictions, and I've noticed that in the US, but we'll use the term CPS because it seems to be the most commonly, it seems to be the most commonly used, right? But, but, and that's the thing, a lot of these kids, they get, that's a lot of them do get snagged up because of problematic activities on social media, whether it's from their parents, whether it's from the kids themselves. Are these kids getting adequate supervision at home, or is there something going on at home? And sometimes it gets downright dark. Like there was a case in Western Canada, out in BC, a boy of the age of 14. And this is what social media, this is the negative side of social media, the dark side here that I'm talking about. The boy was raised by a single father, and he was a kid who was small for his age. He was not particularly athletic or anything. And as such, the sad reality, he was bullied. He never fit in, didn't have any friends. And he was drawn to a bad crowd. And like, this is the sad reality of many kids. They don't fit in, and so they find a crowd that's bad, and more often than not, the motivations are not pure. They are not good. And this was the case, and he found them. And at some skateboarding park, they had the kid doing ecstasy. I think it was ecstasy or some other drug. And the kid was ODing, clearly ODing. And what did they do instead of calling 911? They filmed it for Snapchat or Instagram. Once again, instead of calling 911. Also, there was a sports center right on the premises. You couldn't run inside to get help, even find somebody that works there to get help.
That bothers me so bad. Oh, poor baby.
Yeah, exactly. And so this was, these senseless acts that happen. And then back to YouTube anyway. I personally think YouTube, the platform, should be for 18 and over, like across the board. And maybe YouTube wouldn't run amok. Like now we have to deal with these weird COPPA measures that YouTube put in response to them getting snapped by the FTC. But you have to wonder, is it just a feel, these convoluted new rules, like we have to check our channel and our videos? Is it just a feel-good measure, do you think? Your opinion, is it just a feel-good measure, or is this really for the betterment for everybody on the platform?
It's just so they can say that they did something. It's like you said, it's just for them to say that, oh, well, we put these guidelines in. We said that they have to do this. We did our part. They didn't like the fact they had to make, pay all this money and get fined like that. So let's put these little guidelines and rules that people can't do. And now we've handled that. And it's still business as usual. Remember, we really sat here and we're like so afraid when the new year came, like, oh my gosh, all these rules are going to go into effect. Have we seen really anything other than people false copy or striking everybody for everything? We haven't seen a lot of these hard guidelines getting enforced that was supposed to make this a safer place for kids. We still see these problematic kid family channels out there. They said that was supposed to, really hurt them. They're still out here. They still
have a platform, clearly.
Yeah.
And then others who were even, we'll say, alleged, like Onision, for instance. Onion Boy is a great example. He may not have put his kids on camera. Okay, we can compliment him for that. But we do, we have been hearing more of the stories unfolding about, these young women when they were underage of being groomed. And Onion Boy, frankly, would he have been able to accomplish all this without YouTube, No, I don't think so. Maybe it would have been more complicated, obviously, but he still has a platform, and I still fear that he will be able to continue his old tricks. He'll just find other ways. You know what I'm saying? Oops, you're frozen.
Yeah.
You're frozen.
There we go. Sorry.
Okay, you all right?
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, I was turning my notifications off.
Technology ain't grand.
Are we frozen? Oh no.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Oh, you're frozen. Uh-oh. Okay, you're frozen.
Okay, are we there? We there?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Cool. I personally, I agree with you. I think now we should really, YouTube should really start being an 18 and up platform, just because we see what happens when it wasn't. We saw what happens when, because what did it come out in 2005 or something like that? It's like how many years now? 15 years old. We've had all this time to see what it's like to have underage and adults on here. You guys got fined. You guys saw, we have people like Onion Boy. You have people like Daddy of Five. You have people who are sitting here exploiting kids. You have all of this stuff going on. Now you see that there's problems. There's an issue. Let's go ahead and make it 18 and up now. Let's just make it easier. Let's just cut them out. Let's not have kids on this platform, period, until they're 18. Then at that age, they're able to make their own decisions. They're able to make their own, do their own channel and then handle their own legal actions and all of that.
Exactly.
But I agree with you. I think we've had these 15 years. We see that it's been problematic. It hasn't done anything really fruitful other than make YouTube money, which again, capitalism. So that's really all they care about. But let's make it 18 and up. You can still make a lot of money off of adults, people who are of legal age. Like you don't need kids. I don't see why.
No, and either way, I think YouTube has started a YouTube Kids, which is specifically for kids, and even
the kids don't like that. They don't want that.
Well, they don't, but you know what?
Mm-hmm.
They don't, but you know what? Sometimes it's, they need adults say, sorry.
Yep.
We often like things that are not good for us, and kids are really, it's like, I'm sure kids would love to live on junk food 3 times a day too, but most conscientious parents are not going to do that, feed
right?
3 times a day.
Mm-mm.
It's the same kind of thing, right? And so, yeah, I think it should be, hey, Lily, good to see you. Good to see you, Lily. So anyways, it was like, so let's make the platform adults only. Let's keep children off,
Mm-hmm.
if there's like, so we don't have we don't have to work with these convoluted laws where we have to start panicking.
Yeah.
Just because, let's say we decide to have cartoons on our thumbnails, because apparently they could decide if you like something as stupid as that,
That's towards kids. Like, okay.
Yeah, if you have, so much as have a cartoony looking thumbnail. Yeah, Facebook is pretty much for 18 and up, although that's not really enforced.
No, they lie and they changed. And that's the hard part too, is like, I get a lot of times people kind of get complacent because they look at it as, why fight it? Because they're still going to find ways around it. Like, yes, Facebook is 18 and up, but you still have the kids who lie and they're like, oh, I'm 18, even though you're checking in at middle school every day. Like, okay.
I know.
Like,
this woman I knew from youth, okay, she has 3 kids now. And her daughters, her 2 eldest, okay, when they was young as 9 and 10 or 10 and 11, that young anyway.
Yeah.
Before the oldest started high school this year, they both have Facebook accounts.
I can't.
They both have Instagram accounts.
Yep. I can't do that. They
both have Instagram. And I'm thinking, what are you doing, girl?
Nope.
Why are you allowing them to have Facebook accounts
because
or Instagram accounts?
It's still that feeling of being left out. It's wanting to do what your friends have done. I know there's probably that pressure of you don't want your kids to feel, ostracized or they're not included. Like your friends are doing it. Well, they want to do it too, but we know too much. We have too much technology out here where we know there are bad people. It doesn't matter. You could, as much as we have these little kids lying and saying they're 18, you can have grown adults lying and saying that they're this age. It's just like, let's be cautious. Let's be safe, and I personally I can't do that. I can't justify that. I've seen too many situations where that's gone bad. I've seen, like you said, friends where they've allowed their kids have the YouTubes, they have their Facebooks, they have their Instagrams, their fake Instagrams. Some of them are getting on Twitter, and it's like, the stuff that you see on these platforms, do you really think your children should be subjected to that right now, at least right now? You know, maybe later in teenage years, okay, 15, 16, 17, you're almost out the house. I could give you a little bit more leeway on that type of thing, but you're seeing it younger and younger and younger as time goes on. I think one time I shared, I was at a mall out here, and it's one of the little ritzy areas, and I'm sitting there with my little regular old iPhone, and I'm looking at 10-year-olds walking by with the new iPhone X, and it's all fancy. I'm like, why do you need that? Like, what
exactly
doing with that? Like, oh, just to look cool? Like, what is the reason? You can get a little Android phone and call it a day. There's no reason. Or even wait till maybe high school. That's what I had to do. My parents were looking at me like, oh, you want a cell phone? What? Can you pay for it? And it was like,
there you go. That's one way to approach it, That's exactly one way to approach it.
I know my oldest is listening to me. He's in his room because he's been trying to make a great argument. He's only 12 going on 13. Trying to make a great argument as to why he needs a cell phone. And I'm just like, no, what's it for? Oh, well, what you need for school's for learning. You don't need a cell phone for school. That's where you're supposed to be learning and listen to your teacher. Oh, well, you can watch video at home.
Exactly.
You don't need a cell phone right now. Like, I get it to be safe. Like, and if you can't, it's going to just call me because I don't want you having access already. You already have enough access as it is on your tablet. You already have enough access on an Xbox or whatever other, platforms that kids use. Let's not give them too much. It's putting them out there so much is asking for trouble eventually. And if you are going to do that, again, don't judge. I don't try to judge too many, people's parenting skills as much, because who am I? Those are your kids. You'll learn eventually whatever outcome comes. But I think that it's like, we still need to supervise. We still need to put parental controls in place. Like, yeah, they know you go on Netflix, you go to the kids only part of Netflix. You go to the kids only part of Hulu. If you're on YouTube, you have a set. My youngest, he has the YouTube Kids he uses. My oldest one, he has his set ones that I watch with him. Like, okay, you can watch channel, making sure we have these guidelines to make sure they're safe and they're being semi-protected on the internet is important. But then on the other hand, if you're choosing to put your kids in front of a camera, you're choosing to put your kids on social media, we have to remain cognizant of the people. You don't know who's watching, good or bad. You have to be open for people criticizing you, whether or not it's your parenting skills or just bad people talking to them. You have to be prepared for that. And I don't think a lot of people look at the internet that way. They look at it as a way to pass time, maybe just for entertainment, to have their kids leave them alone, whatever the case is. But it's like, no, that is still a part that you need to be diligent in. Even though it's a part of our everyday life, we're so used to it, it's become so included in everything we do, we still need to remain diligent because bad people are everywhere. Good people too, because people like me will call you out on bad stuff that you do too.
Well, yeah, of course. And like, what was it? There was, the best example, young Caden Bales. The live stream I did, that attracted a no short number of trolls. But anyways, this was an example. I had, if anybody who trolled and actually watched my video, they would have known why I condemned this mother for filming the kid. Now it turns out, depending on where you're reading, it may be a scam. The whole thing may well have been a scam, as it turns out. And that leads to whether or not this particular case was a scam. We have seen people using scams on social media, GoFundMes, and using children as props for this scam. Again, I'm not sure if Caden Bales is part of a scam. I've heard different things. Some say he's actually 18 and not 9. There are others who say he's 8 or 9, but it's still a scam. I did catch something a little bit disturbing. There is like a website, I forget what it's called, and it's like actors or wannabe actors. Okay, and they're looking for parts, or they're looking for an agent, or and apparently this kid has a page.
I've seen screenshots of that as well. Yeah,
the kid has a page. Like I said, this not a smoking gun, but not a good look either.
Yep. But your main point was the fact that he's having this breakdown, and mom decided to sit there and record it and share it on social media in the guise of educating and calling people out, bullying, her son, which, okay, call people out, but I don't need you to record your child, have a camera in his face while he's crying, while he's having a breakdown. If it's fake or not, still the whole scene is just trash to me. Like, that's just trash. Like, I'm not going to sit here and see my child having a breakdown because people are picking on him or calling them names or anything like that. And my first instinct isn't going to pick up a camera and say, let's show the world what bullying like. I can't do that. We can
let's assume this is true. Okay,
that's what I'm doing. Yeah,
there were plenty of other ways, and I mentioned there were other ways. Like, I don't offer permanent solutions, and that's not really what my channel is about. I just put things out there that probably solutions need to be found for, because I believe, no man is an island, and it's like we all need to do this together, type of thing. And that's pretty much always been my attitude on this channel. And there were other solutions. There were other avenues. Assuming this was true, there were other avenues rather than humiliating your kid, putting your kid through further humiliation. It's humiliating enough to be bullied, but it's more humiliating to have your breakdown on camera while mom is filming and then sharing it to go viral.
In that moment, you probably just wanted some love. You probably wanted to get held. Maybe you just wanted some comfort. You didn't need to.
Let's put a camera in the face, And assuming that there were other ways, she could have done her own video without putting her kid in. She could have submitted a letter to the editor in her local paper. She could have submitted an opinion piece.
Yes.
Blog. She could have started a blog. There were any number of ways. You know what I mean? Let's go to the chat for a second.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh, it's Fluffy and Casey talking to each other, so we won't go over that. Okay. No, I'm glad people are making friends. Yeah. Amy says that, yes, it's not only about what the kids post, but what they get exposed to as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You got that one right, Amy. Exactly right. And their parents too, or legal guardian or whatever, it's so, what do I propose? Like, for YouTube and most of these platforms, it should be 18 and up. As for TikTok, if you're going to market an app like TikTok or Snapchat, and Snapchat is aimed at young people, especially pose with cat ears and bunny ears.
Yep.
So okay, but with like Snapchat and TikTok for children, there should be better safeguards, because this is the problem. While I think it's in principle, and keywords being in principle, I'm okay with kids having their own place on the internet to interact with each other. But the flip side is this also attracts a lot of sickos.
Yeah.
And there's got to be better safeguards. Even TikTok, after they got nailed, they claimed like they put the age up to 13, but 13 is still vulnerable. And what other safeguards are you using? Like I said, the Buddy still has a freaking account. That's a problem, okay? I don't care if he doesn't have content up anymore.
As good as technology is, it's like, if you're going to make content for kids, you should find a way to filter out adults then. Like, yes, there's going to be people that lie and stuff like that, but if this is actually a site for kids, let's make it to where you ask a question about how old someone is, to where you're too old, sorry, you can't join this website. They do it, people are going to lie, but at least you did something to try to stop, something to where it makes it a little bit harder, a little bit more hoops to jump through.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a little harder to do because adults can find their ways. But yeah, it would be a good start, because, I do agree kids should have a way to interact online. I just don't think these big platforms like YouTube at least has a YouTube Kids, which is for kids, content for kids. Like you mentioned Ryan's Toys earlier, which the kid who does toy reviews.
Yes. I think because I saw Daphne asked, is there any parent online doing it right? And I think that is actually one YouTube channel I will say, I think they did a really great job and they've been successful because of it. Like they have it's their kids. He's doing reviews. He stays in his kid's place. He plays with his toys. His parents are on there with him. You know, yeah, there might be some parts where people might feel it's a little bit of a little exploitative there, but he at least is doing content that is aimed for kids around his age. And I think they're actually like, that is one where it's like, okay, that's not bad. That's not a bad example of what you can do, you know. And there's other channels out there that my boys used to love watching that did the same thing, where it was very appropriate, kid appropriate content. They, the parents were in it with them as well, but they made sure to keep it as educational or doing toys or learning things. Like I loved when my kids watched that. But then you have the other stuff where it's like, yeah, I can see why this is an issue because kids love it, but it's talking about bad things with puppets. Like,
yeah, I know. I mean, what was it? There was another channel. They have together collectively in that family. They have 3 channels. One is called Living Life Fam, which is basically a mukbang channel, but not the kind like you see from, say, Nikocado out of Picado, or even those like not even Stephanie Sue or B Loves Life.
Okay.
It's not an ASMR channel like, say, Veronica Wang or Zach Choi. It's family dinners. It's a lesbian couple. They're raising a son and a pet snake, a ball python named Lucky.
Wow.
And they basically talk about their lives. They share their meal, a normal meal that usually Victoria, one of the couple. Okay, she's a stay-at-home mom, and Regina, the other one, goes out to work. She works as a nurse, and now I think they took time off because they're traveling the Pacific Rim right now with the kid.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're traveling and they're vlogging about that. So basically, it's mukbangs, but you know, and they talk about what they're eating and their day and stuff like that to show that they're a normal family, just like everybody else. And then there's another one, Loving Life Fam Fun, which is vlogs, day in the life, travel vlogs, because these people travel all the time. And right now, currently, they're traveling the Pacific Rim, or they just finished traveling the Pacific Rim. And anyways, their son started at a young age to have his own channel. It was called Snakyland. And I'll have to admit, I took a few glances at it. I didn't see anything nefarious, and it's obvious these women are supervising him.
Yeah.
It is. They are supervising him closely. His content is stuff like easy cooking shows, like how to make Jell-O.
Aww.
You know, or him playing with Lucky the snake.
Basically kid appropriate kind of things.
Yeah, or him playing games, you know, with his friend, like his little friend might come over and, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, again, that's better content for, it may well be on YouTube Kids now. Yeah. Snakyland. Then the parents were supervising closely. Now, do I endorse it? No.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. As much as I'll commend these women,
it's still, you don't know who's watching. It's the big don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Hang on. They're talking about cigarettes and vapes. Some people are lighting up at the same time as I light up. I hope I'm not starting a trend here. I hope I'm not starting a trend. Oh well.
I do the same thing though. It's so funny. Like you, luckily right now I'm pretty good because I haven't been in the mood for one yet. But like normally, if I'm like chilling, I'll watch you and you'll smoke. I'll light one. Or Deity, whenever he smokes, that's how you know smokers. Like you see someone light a cigarette, you're like, oh yeah, I need one too. Like,
oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, I had a troll once. Oh god, another troll. What else is new? You have a start a YouTube channel and you get trolls, no matter how small your channel is. But and this was way back when I only had double digits in subscribers.
And still finding a way.
Oh no, they find a way, exactly. And one of them came on and started dumping on my comment section. Why are you smoking? Don't you know that there are children watching you?
Shouldn't be. I'm not.
That's my answer. It's like, A, children shouldn't be watching me, and B, this is not a quit smoking channel. I never once promised on this channel I would try to quit smoking.
Right?
Okay, and I'm not going to.
Like, come on.
Even if I were to decide one day I want to try to cut back, I'm not going to talk about it. Okay, I'm going to keep that to myself because it's for the same reason why documenting weight loss on YouTube is a bad idea.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
It's the same reason, you know, if I'm going to do anything, it's going to be behind the scenes. So I thought it laughable that this troll is telling, don't you know kids are watching you? Don't you know smoking causes cancer? It's bad for you. You shouldn't smoke on camera. And it's like, what, you know, and that's what I told him about the kids part. Like, kids shouldn't be watching my channel. My content is not for kids. I even said it channel wide. None of my videos are. I mean, I mean, there are a few videos I actually had to slap age restrictions on, like the live stream I did with Captain Fish last week. No, I don't know if you were still there, but it got racy.
I probably left by that part.
Yeah, it got a little racy. It just starts to say it flew off the rails a bit. Captain Fish is now Father Fish. Because Captain Fish was conducting Bible study.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Bible study, like, not Bible study. It's like, it's kind of thing like, well, you haven't had Bible study like when Captain Fish does it.
Oh man, he's so funny. I can't.
So, yeah, you know, they're just back to saying, like, yes, there are some videos I felt the need to slap age restrictions on, like last week. But I'm not going to slap age restrictions on all of them. But across the board, I did make my adjustments like YouTube wanted us to do. I did that long before the holidays, you know, with Kappa. Yeah, you know, it's like, that's, it's like, what was another one? Yeah, I get these stop smoking trolls, you know, concern trolls. And what was it? Alex, actually, who was in here earlier, so psyched. I don't know if you noticed it. Not her last video, the video before where she talked about she was going into, she was about to enter rehab. Okay, where she is now.
Yeah.
There was one trolling comment on her channel. Why are you swearing so much? You're a bad influence. Don't you realize children are watching or sub to you or something along those lines? I don't know if you noticed that. Oh yeah, and I think he posted it on Twitter. She posted a screenshot on Twitter, and that's why you saw her in her last video. I think she posted last night or something.
Yeah.
Because Alex is in Europe, so there's like a 6-hour time difference from us. I keep that in mind. But for her, it's pretty late at night right now.
Yeah.
That's why she said when the doors close, it's probably very late where she is.
Yep.
But at the end of her video, if you didn't notice, by the way, this is not for children.
Like,
she said that at the end of her video, probably to address the troll that was bothering her. By the way, this is not for children. And that's the other reason why I think YouTube definitely needs to be 18 and up, because I don't feel we should have to be censoring ourselves.
That was what I was going to say too. And I've slowly like stopped caring. I let in a little bit of curses every once in a while now, just because I curse like the sailor in real life. I am grown. Like,
yeah.
And it's hard sometimes to just hold back so hard. And I'm like, wait, my channel's not for kids. I don't expect kids to watch me. And so I'm just going to let it out every once in a while. You guys are, and to me, it's counterproductive. If you're sitting here saying you don't want your content to be like aimed for kids, YouTube's not really a kid's website. Don't get mad and don't demonetize people for using curse language, for using language adults use. And I've seen it so many times on the platform where certain people I watch where they're changing their intros and they're not saying the F word or they're taking out the B word. And it's like, well, you said that you don't want us to sit here and make it, you know, towards kids, but not cursing kind of helps that whole situation because kids curse, we know that. But like, if you sit here and your parent is in the other room and you're watching a video of mine and I'm saying F, 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 shit, shit, shit all day, they should be coming out like, hey, what are you watching? Like, that's not for you. Like,
no.
Why are we getting, you know, punished for that? I don't.
Exactly. Like, why should we, you know, that's exactly why it's a better idea. You know, we wouldn't have to censor ourselves because, and it's not just the swearing or the smoking or whatever, other stuff.
It's just things we want to talk about, things that, you know, kids
matters. Yeah. Matters, or talking about current events, whatever the case may be. Or if you want to do like Father Fish and conduct Bible study.
You shouldn't be super afraid of some bad repercussions or yeah,
exactly. You know, and then, you know, why are we censoring ourselves? And like, it's gotten to a point where, did you know there's a state that you can't mention on YouTube? The name of a state.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Begins with the letter A.
There's so many.
Where deity is from.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
I don't know.
That's weird.
That's the clue I'm going to give you, where deity is from.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I did check the analytics every so often because I'm this paranoid now. I check the analytics. I check what demographic is watching. This is how paranoid I've gotten. I check in my analytics the demographics, the age group, demographic age group that's watching me. And it's like, it's always 18 to 55.
Good.
Mainly women, mostly women.
Yeah.
18 to 55. And I'm like, phew, okay.
Right.
It's like, I'm breathing a sigh of relief then, you know. But the point is, I shouldn't have to feel like I have to check that part of my analytics all the time. I got enough when I'm checking my numbers because I'm trying to grow a channel, right?
Yeah.
Enough checking the freaking numbers. And every so often, I just want to make sure there's no teenagers slipping in, because I had noticed there are live streams I watch frequently that talk about any subject, any range, whether it's mental health, whether they're doing a reaction to another YouTuber, or whether anything at all. And I would see somebody in the live chat saying, I'm only 12 or I'm only 13. I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, thank goodness. I've never noticed anything like that.
Oh, no, me neither. To date, knock wood, I haven't noticed that on any of my streams, and I stream all the time. But I've seen that, and I would see like the host, you know, it was like, well, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
What they would say, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't, like, I don't know.
It goes back to that parental supervision. It goes back to where are your parents? Like, a lot of times people say, like, where are your parents? That is a big part. You need to be understanding what your kids are doing. What are they watching? My kid doesn't know what a live is. Both of my boys do not know what lives are. They haven't ever sat in a live because they already know I'm not going to let you do that. You're letting me watch YouTube. And I make if I saw a 12-year-old and if I saw my son in a live, it'd be like, no, why are you who are you watching that's conducting a live that you need to sit here and you can't even type out the words that you need? Like, no, let's get off of that. Let's find a different show to watch.
Yeah, let's find something more age appropriate, you know.
A lot of it, I feel, is we've become complacent. We've, especially because as we get older and we're so used to having internet, we're so used to having this access to things that we just kind of let these things kind of fall and allow these behaviors because it's easier, or it's just, you know, oh, well, they're going to do it anyway, or their friends are doing it. But it's like, no, but that's why we're still having issues with people out here, you know, looking at little kids being the words we can't say, and or you have parents who are getting criticized for their actual stuff because you're just like, well, it's no big deal, but it really is, because the internet is the World Wide Web. We forget that. We don't say www anymore, but the World Wide Web, and we mean that you don't know who it is. You know what was one of the best documentaries I ever watched on Netflix? I love it. Is that Don't Mess with Cats?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it yet.
So good. But it kind of had that reminder of, you don't know where these people are. They were showing people, and one of the ladies, she was in Vegas, and they're trying to find this person, and they're thinking he's in Russia. They're thinking he's here, he's there. It's the internet for a reason. It's everywhere, and you don't know who's tuning in, who's paying attention to your kids, who's talking to your kids, unless you are active and you're sitting there. And it's like, we have to find that balance of, I don't judge, I don't knock anyone who allows their kids social media access. If that's you, whatever makes you happy, but make sure you're being strict and diligent on paying attention to who they're talking to, because we see too many stories of, I didn't know that's who they were talking to. I didn't know who her friends were, or whatever the case is. And they end up in these situations where it's like, dang, I wish I would have been more diligent. And it's like, no, let's do this from the get-go, so that way we have less of a chance of running into these things, to these bad situations.
Oh yeah. And then you get the good old, these are creepy middle-aged men for the most part. They're pretending to be 13 and 15. Mm-hmm. There was a channel on YouTube. I don't know if they're still producing content. Kind of almost vigilante type of thing. Not vigilante with the guns ablazing and all like that. Yeah. What they were basically doing was they were trapping people on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, they would pretend, and they would put it up. Or interacting or doing duets. It's what you call duet. That's when you do a response video to somebody on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
It's called duet, and that's where it gets creepy for a lot of, Mm-hmm. And so this channel, I forget what they were called. I don't know if they're still doing what they were doing, but this is what they would film. They would set up the trap at some apartment or hotel room or a house, wherever, and all of a sudden, sure, lo and behold, because they figured out that the one who was posing as a kid was going to show up. And sure enough, you see some creepy looking.
Kind of like what Chris Hansen used to do back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like that's basically how it became. It's too bad Chris Hansen has turned into a clown circus these days, but which we won't get into today. I think most of us know. The Vincent Nicotra thing, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it has turned into a circus, and that is unfortunate because the other thing is the alleged victims, I don't know, did Chris Hansen actually tell them or encourage them to file a police report in Pierce County? No, doesn't look like that's happened.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, I think shows like that, not only is it to catch them, but the alleged victims involved, these shows should also teach them how to advocate for themselves, or how to find advocacy for themselves. Like filing a police report, for instance.
Yes, different victim services that are available to you once that happens. Things that different services you might want to look into after going through one of these types of situations. That is very important as well. It is.
Oh yeah, exactly. So we were, yeah, exactly. So what we did was, so that's what it should do. And I find that's always and this is the same critique a lot are having over the Chris Hansen, have a seat with Chris Hansen thing. That's a huge part of the critique. But yeah, and that's unfortunate. Yeah. That is unfortunate. But yeah, it's turned into a circus, unfortunately. And this is quite the other example, these underage girls, like we mentioned earlier, Onion Boy probably wouldn't have been able to allegedly carry out what he carried out if not for that. Who was another one? RSN. I think he even admitted to rape to RAP an underage girl named Amber.
Her own life.
What?
He did that on his own channel. Like, what's wrong with
it?
Oh,
The girl was underage too. I think the girl was 16 or something, 15, 16 or something.
Like, and then he's still here. I can't, like, and that's where it's like, and it's hard because you try not to. I remember what it was like having very overbearing parents. My dad was super strict. It was one of those, like, couldn't really hang out with friends, couldn't really go outside. Goodness, I got a cell phone at 16 because I was able to pay for it myself. But other than that, there wasn't that many freedoms. And I look back at it and I'm like, I get it, even though it was a mess and I felt very restricted, but I kind of get why that was needed, because he did understand that there are people out there that, you know, will take advantage. I still snuck, you know, I had my cell phone on the little old school cell phone chat rooms talking to people I shouldn't have been talking to. But it's like, seeing how he was then and then watching as technology's gotten better, as society's gotten different and changed, you can understand why parents are kind of what they call the helicopter parents, always hovering and hanging around and seeing what's going on with their kids, because we've had those horror stories, we've experienced some of these things ourselves, and it's like, sometimes you just want the other parents to do the same thing, but then it's like, again, you parent the way you want to. I don't want you to feel like I'm like judging, but I am kind of judging because like I care about your kid's safety. I care about your family safety. You know, you don't know what they're sharing with people. Even as adults, we share too much sometimes. I go off on my own partner where he's sitting there, we live here, and I'm like, hey, you know, internet, like, let's calm down. People can know our state, but they don't need to know our exact cross streets. Like, let's be careful, you know? And I think sometimes all of us need that, you know, that reminder of safety online, you know? With us using it so much, a lot of it goes to the wayside. We forget about it. We become lax, we become complacent, but we need to, especially as parents, just remember online safety, maybe take some classes to remind ourselves why we need to take this so serious, because it's like, this is a technology we're not going to get rid of. A lot of us live with it. We use it every day. I mean, come on now. We have YouTube channels. We're trying to build platforms off of it. It's something that we need to constantly be reminded of why this is important, why we need to keep this in the forefront of our mind, making as creators or as parents or as just people that enjoy the internet, because we can catch ourselves in so many different sticky situations if we don't do that.
This is indeed true. You know, and so imagine, so, you know, so anyways, we've been on for almost 2 hours. If there are closing, have we said everything we wanted to talk about on this subject? Have we covered everything?
I think so, because it's just both sides. We talked about the side of just being on there, being exploited by the parent. We talked about just being a parent and, you know, making sure that they're being safe and being cognizant of the things that they do. But then we also talked about family channels and putting your kids on there and being open to the criticism of doing that and people looking at your life. And, you know, both of us, I really agree kids shouldn't be online like that anyway, but we understand that parents will do whatever the hell they want to do. It's their kids. But I think our main thing is just making sure we are right there and paying attention and being aware of what's going on in our households, online and off, is really important.
Yeah, I agree too. It's exactly that, you know. It's exactly that. And the influence, you know, and like I said, there are problematic influencers, there are problematic kids, you know, they're probably because of their problematic handlers, which are usually their parents, sadly, you know. We talked about Lil Tay, we talked about Venus Angelic, you know, we talked about the Ace family and Danielle Cohn and all of those people. And then we talk about parents who use their children as props for views, like Amy's Life Journey, for instance. Which it turns out there is alleged abuse.
Which ends up opening yourself for criticism, for people to call, for people. And that whole situation made me mad for her. I'm not going to lie. Like, she really did gaslight and try to be like, oh, you guys don't, you guys. And it's like, you know how many And I've heard that, like, and there's parts of it where I agree, where it's like, yes, you can be distracting from good resources for other people that maybe truly be getting hurt in her opinion, but we don't know you. So your kids could be hurt as well. Like, that whole situation made me mad. Like, I was just like,
and I covered this in my previous video, you know, it's bad look, you know, I mean, between the thud we hear off camera and then the toddler screaming or waving the wooden spoon around in a car. Carrying a wooden spoon in the car, do you plan to bake a cake? You have a mixing bowl in there too.
What are you doing? And then get mad when people put 2 and 2 together or assume things. Like, no, that's where, as parents, if you choose to put your kids online, be prepared for everything that comes with it.
And that's the thing. It's not a kid's choice. A kid can't make that choice. You know, you're making the choice for your child. Mm-hmm. And are you advocating on their? No, you know, mm-hmm. Most of the time, sadly, after everything we spoke about and these, you know, so-called young influencers, we've seen no.
Yep.
Not, like I said, we did provide a few solutions, far from perfect.
Yeah.
That would need a lot of work, like making YouTube and other platforms for 18 and up. We know it's not perfect because Facebook has tried.
Yeah.
Facebook has tried. And yet there are younger children that have Facebook accounts. But yeah, it's just a bad situation all around. And I think, you know, I as a parent, or whatever role, whatever hat you wear, as a parent, as a case manager in the mental health field, or as a mandated reporter, what words of wisdom would you impart to parents out there who may be allowing their children a little too much latitude on social media, maybe, or?
Personally, I'd say don't do it, but
well, that's valid.
You know, my personal thing is don't do it. I'm not going to have my own kids on camera doing anything like that. But if you are going to have them, you know, interact on social media, just remain cognizant and be diligent in supervision. Like, if you are going to go against everything and say, no, I don't care, it's what they like, it's fun, it is what it is, then be diligent. Be diligent in the things that in what they're looking at, pay attention to who they're talking to, know their passwords, like maybe have a backup thing that you can just sneak into. Who doesn't matter. You should be the one who sets up these accounts. You should be the one who consistently has the passwords to these things. You should be checking them frequently. You should be talking to your children and having these conversations about online safety, because we know dang on well the schools aren't going to do it themselves. Like, there's a lot of it comes down to the parents, unfortunately, because we can't sit here, as much as we would love for corporations to do what we feel is right for them to do. It ultimately comes down to you as a parent. If you're going to put your kids online, be prepared for the backlash that you could receive, the criticism that you could get. Be open to it, honestly, because criticism, we all can learn. We can all, you know, improve and get better, but just remain diligent. We get complacent. We're so used to having this technology. We're so used to living with it every day to where we get lax. And that's where we run into those issues. I feel a lot of us could benefit from age, you know, doing what is appropriate for your kid, whatever. Each kid is individual. If you feel like an older kid has earned or maybe has a little bit more sense than maybe your younger one, tailoring it for them that way is great. But it ultimately comes down to the parent's responsibility to stay diligent, to pay attention, have these conversations, educate yourself even more, so that way if something bad does come up, you at least know it, or maybe are more insightful to it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And as far as TikTok is concerned, and I mention TikTok and Snapchat often because those are marketed to kids specifically. Mm-hmm. Those are specifically kids apps. Even though more adults are using them, they're kids apps.
It's still kids app, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where we're going to turn it over to you. Those are the viewers. We're going to watch in the live chat. just before while we do that. So if you've got questions or comments, now is the time. We turn it over to you in the live chat. Also mention, if you haven't joined our Discord server already, 18 and up only, please consider joining. Fluffy, any mods, Amy, any mods left, please put the Discord server link in the chat. It's also in the description of this video. And also, if you wish to support the channel, you may do so through Patreon. Go check out my page. I upload about two videos a month. They're more of a personal nature that I'm not ready to unleash to a wide audience yet. They're more of a personal nature. So check me out on Patreon, or you can do so through a one-time donation on PayPal. And that concludes the obnoxious e-begging portion. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you, Fluffy. Thank you. And so let's see what the chat has to talk about on this subject. Lily says her sister doesn't want her daughter on social media until she's ready.
Facts. I agree.
That's fair.
Yep.
We need never exchange numbers online. Absolutely not. Yep.
Or even, and I'm big on not even putting your whole name online. Like,
no. We see doxing and swatting are a thing, so not subjecting a child to that.
I watched, I was just in a Facebook group to where they sat there and someone said something bad, and instantaneously this person was able to quickly dox this person. They went and found their history of arrests. They found their, yes, they posted everything. And I was like, this is why. This is why I keep my profiles locked down. This is why I don't let my kids do any of this stuff on here.
Yeah.
You say one wrong thing, there's someone out there who's willing to just try to find your whole life story and tell everybody.
Of course. Daphne says, oh, I'm sorry for your loss, Lily. She's saying she's going to a funeral tomorrow. I'm sorry for your loss, Lily.
Same. I'm sorry.
Daphne, someday I'd like to talk about how these kids will be able to integrate into normal life when they've grown up with cameras in their face their whole life. I'm assuming, Daphne, you're referring to those like Lil Tay or like even Little L from the Ace family, Venus Angelic. Venus Angelic is grown up now, like someone like Alex Sosa earlier mentioned before she left. And I think, Premink's also talked about, like I said, I'm going to link Premink's video on Venus Angelic in the pinned comments. I think he does a great job deep diving, and I think it's required viewing if you're a parent. But we've seen she's grown up now, and she's moved off to Japan and has completely, apparently severed ties with her mother.
Nice.
So we know how. So we pretty much know. I hope she's doing well in Japan.
Yep.
And I'm not sure what's happened with Lil Tay. Lil Tay would be now about 11 or 12, I think. And but that's a very good point, Daphne. Very good point.
Yep.
Casey, I have my name, but if someone doxed me, I'm not worried because anything they could find out about me, I'm open about, but I understand why others don't. Yeah. That's fine. And I have to be careful too. I'm the only one with my last name in the province of Quebec. So if anybody wanted to dox me.
I've always just kept my stuff locked down because once I started working in mental health, we had so many horror stories of clients who would get your info and throw it back at you, or they would there's a lot of different things. So we always were very careful and were informed, like social media, things like that, lock it down. You don't share too much because we're working with them personally as well, but you never know what they will find out, what they could say, what they could use against you. And then we just see too many examples of it online where it's like people are miserable, they're unhappy. Like I don't have anything that I'd be ashamed of in my past, but it's one of those things like, I don't need you trying to call my job because you're mad I said something you didn't like.
Exactly.
There's people out there that do that. That's where, yes, Casey, I definitely understand. Where it's like, you're not going.
Definitely.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Kim just joined us. Kim, hi. Good to see you here. He's also one of my patrons. I appreciate you. Kim, the live stream will remain up as usual if you want to catch it from the beginning. Okay, so now moving on. Lily said they forced her, referring to Venus Angelic, as a doll. Well, that was the twisted premise of that channel. It was how to look like a bloody doll.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about, like, there was tutorials on how to do your makeover and your hair and your clothes to look like a doll.
And that's where you got to check your intentions. Cause I remember there was a whole thing about this little girl who does ASMR, and it was starting off as like, it was cute cause it was little things, but eventually you start seeing it make that turn where it starts to become more sexualized, or it starts to become more whatchamacallit. And it's like, parents, check your intentions at that time. Like, are you really just doing this for the money, or is this something, like, that's something I think that we always have to keep in mind too. Like,
Yeah, and that was like that, because that's why that is extra. I mean, they're all very problematic. Lil Tay, Venus Angelic, they're all problematic for different reasons. And in the case of Venus Angelic, as Lily reminded us, it's because that whole channel, that entire content was about looking like a doll. And it's like, what kind of people are you thinking? And I mean, and who wants to look like a doll? Okay, don't answer that. Probably too many that I care to think about. Probably too many. But the point is that
but little kids, no, we shouldn't be having kids doing that.
No, exactly. Exactly. Hang on. What were they saying? Oh, I'm sorry, Lily.
Oh, definitely. Sad.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Casey, they were sexualizing that ASMR kid. The channel was taken down, according to Casey.
Yeah, they really were. Like, she started off good. The parents were all for it because she got big really quick. And then next thing you know, whoop, it started taking that turn. And yeah, I think her channel did get taken down.
Yeah, exactly. Kim, who just joined us, is a parent. Kim, you're a parent, right? If you can just indicate in the chat. Kim, if you're still there. Yo, because I know I believe she's a parent of teenagers, and I would have liked to have, maybe she might have had some brief remarks. Okay. Well, we'll see. We're on for another few minutes. We'll see if she does. Wasn't there Valeria who was the human Barbie, or there are lots of human Barbies? Yeah, adults and children. Adults and children. Yeah. Looking. This is the. Okay, you answered my question. There are a lot of people who want to look like a doll. Barbie, more specifically. But in case of Venus, it wasn't Barbie. It was. I don't know what to call it. It was like between. I don't know what to call it.
There's doing something like that, dressing them up as little dolls and trying to look like a little doll. There's just a nasty undertone to that period.
Yeah.
There's just a nasty undertone.
Kim, that is if you don't mind, Kim. If I sent you the link to the StreamYard, do you want to come on and give your point of view briefly? You okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just let me know in the chat if you want me to, and I'll send you the link in Discord. Lily mentions there's a human Ken too. Funny thing, Ken and human Barbie don't like each other.
That's so true. They don't.
What, you know about this?
Yeah, that's so true. They really don't.
I've never heard of this.
Like, and they both. It's just. The human Barbie, one of them at least that I know that was really popular. I was like, why would you want to look like that though? But it is what it is. Whatever makes you happy.
Okay, she says. Okay, Kim. Oh wow. Okay, Kim. I'm gonna give you the StreamYard link. Go to Discord. I'm gonna PM it to you in Discord. Hang on. We'll get to it. And gotta find you. My membership is growing. I'm so proud to say.
Yeah.
Kim, where are you, Kim? I thought Kim was a member of my Discord.
I think she is, isn't she? I thought I've seen her in there.
Yeah, I don't see her anymore. Oh, yeah, she is.
There she is.
All right, there she is. Just found her. Okay. Okay, Kim, it's check your DMs and Discord. The link is there. The link is there. Okay. We'll see. We'll give it a few minutes and we'll see. Yeah. They have a crazy lifestyle. One human Barbie is a
Breatharian?
breatharian? Am I Miss Breatharian?
I guess.
She breathes instead of eats. What? Have you heard of this?
I did not know that, but that's crazy. Like, what? Casey, wouldn't she die? Like, that's what I'm saying. You need to have something in your body.
Oh my God.
Like juices or something.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, that's another thing. Unfortunately, the sad thing is there is a growing pro-ana movement online.
Mm-hmm.
Pro-anorexia.
Really?
They're targeting young girls. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Kim is here. Hey, Kim.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going on?
We were talking about children and social media. And
Okay.
You're a parent, and you seem to be the only one in the chat that has indicated that they were a parent. So we thought before we jump off, we thought a few brief words, maybe from your point of view. How do you feel about your daughters being on social media, either as a so-called influencer content creator or as an observer with an account?
Okay. Well, my daughter is 13. She does have a Facebook account that I monitor. She has her own telephone, but I have her emails synced to my phone. So if I feel anything weird has happened, the activity, everything else, I don't invade her privacy. But if I feel like that there's something going on, I'll look through. She has a YouTube channel, but it's hidden.
Okay.
So only her friends can get links to her videos.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Do you feel overall that most of these social media platforms, let's exclude Snapchat and TikTok, but do you think most of them, like YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, should be restricted to 18 and up?
I mean, yeah, it should, but there's people always bypass those things. Kids bypass those things, lie about their birthday, so it's kind of useless in my opinion.
Okay.
Because they're gonna do it anyway.
Okay. Okay.
So, but that's why I monitor her online activities.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for Kim, Kay?
Oh no, I think she's doing what I really think a lot of the parents need to do is just make sure you're staying cognizant and disciplined and what your children are doing. Like she said, she has it linked up with her email. I love the fact that she said her YouTube is like straight up unlisted. You can only get the link to if she sends it to you. I think that's awesome and I think that's something a lot of people could do if they're wanting their kids to be able to have a Facebook, things like that. Making sure that you are part of that whole process is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. No,
it's needed.
Hang on, Lily.
The main thing is you gotta monitor it. You can't just give them an electronic and walk away from them.
Yep. And
you actually have to take the time to monitor their activities. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? This, that, and the other thing. If you don't care, then obviously that's when the trouble starts.
Yep.
Precisely.
Yep. Stay diligent. Stay making sure you're paying attention. I definitely agree. That's where we run into a lot of the problems is where people get complacent. They get, it's something to pass the time. The kids leave them alone. And then next thing you know, something happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the other thing too. Like when she's online, she has a restricted amount of time. So she's not on it all the time. She's not on it for hours and hours a day.
So
Okay. No, that's cool. You see, that is at least responsible, you know, and of course, you know, and this is definitely not the daddy of 5 or the little Tays or the Venus Angelics. Yeah. Or those family bloggers.
what made you choose 13, or did you have it before 13?
She actually got her phone when she was 12.
Okay.
We got it for her birthday because a lot of kids do. Most kids have cell phones.
They do.
And you know, she's getting older, and she is a responsible kid. So you know, we trusted it.
Yeah.
And so far we haven't had to regret it, which is good.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of times people need to realize it's individual kid base or kid by kid basis. Some kids are ready for it at the 12, 13, some kids aren't ready until 15, 16. I think parents evaluating each individual situation themselves is what's needed as well. I think that's awesome. Like what you're doing, Kim, is exactly what I plan on doing if my son gets a phone. He's been trying to get one. He's almost 13. He's sitting here trying to beg me for a cell phone. And I'm like, if you do get one, it's a flip phone.
There you go.
But I get it because, like you said, they have their friends and their friends are getting phones, and you don't want them to feel super excluded too, you know, because of peers and things like that either.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. She's been asking for one since she was 10, you know, and she didn't get it when she wanted it because we didn't feel like she was ready for it.
No, exactly. Yeah, I wanted to thank you for adding your input, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
What? Was there something?
No, I said sure.
Okay, so thank you for adding your input. So yeah, that's the conclusive. That's what we're concluding. Once again, like I said, I'm not offering conflict solutions, but that's not what I do really here. I just point out that there is a problem to be solved. Because like I learned in Narcotics Anonymous a while back, in order to solve a problem, you got to first acknowledge that there is one to be solved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think this whole, you know, as technology increases and there are more and more apps to socialize online, I think it's becoming more and more of a challenge to protect our children or for children to not be exploited. I think it's a bigger challenge, and I think it's a problem that needs to be exposed. That's why I wanted to do the topic, and I wanted to do it with Kay because not only is she a parent, because she works in the mental health industry and she's a mandated reporter, but I also figured, like, for a few minutes, if there were any parents like yourself who wanted to come on and give their point of view, that would be interesting too. That's why I asked you if you wanted to come on to give some brief remarks. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So thank you very much for your input, Kim.
All right, you ladies, take care.
You too.
Thank you for joining.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, Lily, she says, I've had Facebook since 16 and MySpace at 14, and I say I'm 100 years old. Yeah, I feel that way a lot of the time too. I feel like, well, you've hurt yourself recently, didn't you, Kay?
Oh, I did. I'm sitting here I got a boot on my foot. You guys see my crutch in the background.
Yep.
I was delivering a food box. I had a client. She was like, I need a food box. I was going from her front door to her dining room, and it's one of those houses that has that random step from the living room to the dining room. And I didn't know, or I forgot, because I'd been there before, but it was a while, and she didn't remind me. So I'm just walking, and then I just fell so hard. The food box slid into the kitchen, and I got up. My ankle was hurting, and I was sitting there stretching. I still continued my meeting with her. I had another client right after. I go to her house. I meet with her, and I'm still sitting there. And then I get home, and I'm like, let me lay down, and I couldn't get back up. So
Oh,
it
no.
was so bad. I had to use luckily my son, he's getting big, so I could use him for like a hop along to the bathroom and stuff. And he felt needed. I was like, can you help me do this, do this, do this? He's like, okay, you know. So I got lucky with that, and now I'm stuck with crutches and a boot for 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, God. All right. Well, look at it this way. Oh no, it's summer all year round. I keep forgetting it's summer all year round. Where I was about to say, look at it this way: if this had to happen, better in winter than in the summer. But it's summer for you all year round.
Today woke up to us raining. We're actually having a nice little rain today. That's why my lighting's a little messed up too, because it's like I usually like to have a good natural light come in. Can't really have that because we're just storming outside for a little bit. Like,
oh yes,
so random.
Lily was saying, but MySpace isn't cool anymore. I shut it down a long time. Does MySpace even still exist?
They tried to keep it for a long time, and then they realized nobody was going to it, and they just said bye.
That's what I thought. I mean, it's like MySpace. That's like, whoa, ancient history.
I'm mad though because I had a lot of good pictures on there that I should have took.
Forgot to download your pictures, you know.
So many, because a lot of them, because I had gone through so much during that time. A lot of it is like my pictures of my oldest when he was like a baby. I had a lot of them on there, and I just totally, once Facebook came, I just went straight to Facebook, and I don't even use Facebook like that anymore, honestly.
No, I mean, I've been on, I mean, that was the first platform I joined years ago, like over 13 years. Oh my God, it's been 13 years I've been on Facebook.
Yep.
And I used it originally 2 years later because I was a political blogger at the time, and I used it for that, for political, exchange with other like-minded political folks. And yeah, I did. And that was okay. And I still do it. I still spar on Facebook and the various political groups. I still do it. But yeah, yeah, it's, what else is there? Google Plus is gone since no one ever uses. Yeah, that was supposed to compete. Google wanted to compete with Facebook.
They did.
There were other apps, other companies that wanted to set up an app to compete with Facebook, but nobody could touch it.
It's just so funny because she said, literally, that's what the email says. That is what the email said. I will never forget because I had a Google Plus too, never used it, never touched it. And then they literally sent out that email saying Google Plus is going away because no one touches it. And I was like,
yeah, pretty much. I got that. I had a Google Plus account too.
Yeah, but never touched it.
I mean, for a while I tried posting on it, but it was like, it got to a point. I can't, no. I stopped posting to it, and I didn't.
I knew that really used it was like the tech people. Like my brother-in-law, he's big on, like, he does Google SEO for like his job for business and stuff. So like he was big on Google, like all of that. But he was the only one I really knew, and I tried to jump on there, and I was like, this isn't for me. That is so fun. It took me forever to get on Facebook because I remember when it first came out, it was only for the college students. So I was like, well, I'm not in college, so I'm good. Now I barely touch it. I use it for family. Like, I keep in contact with all my family all over the country, and that's really it. You don't really see me post. I don't. I'm good. It's like it feels like, as soon as, like, as we get older, we start realizing social media isn't that important, like, it's hard. I even catch myself now because it's like, yes, we're trying to build our YouTube channels, we're building our platforms but it's hard for me to really be super, super, super invested in social media sometimes, just because it's like, we have other things we have to do or we're going through and dealing with, and then sometimes it's just really overwhelming. So just to imagine being under 18 dealing with that, or, being a young person dealing with that, like, you see Instagram moving towards taking away the likes and stuff like that. Yeah. It was understandable because for a long time on my Journey to Find K page, that was my weight loss page. That was it would sit there. I was mainly focused on the likes and the people who were liking it rather than really what I was putting up. And I'm like, oh, I can understand why you want to do that. Imagine the kids, the young ones, like,
Well, yeah.
You know, they're gaining their value off of how many likes they get. Like,
well, yeah, exactly. And I think you and I discussed this once. There was a documentary on Netflix called Social Animals, and it focused on 3 teenagers, very different teenagers. I think they're all young adults now. They're all in their 20s now. But back then when they were filmed, they were all in their late teens, like 16, 17, 18 years old. One of them became a daredevil, was from the projects in New York City, and he turned to what they call daredevil photography. He ran into all kinds of issues too. Like, yes, he was gaining notoriety as a daredevil photographer. Like, for instance, he would go on top of bridges. He would go into abandoned buildings. He would take pictures off ledges of buildings.
Yeah, no, not me.
Well, that was his niche. Okay, talk about that niche he carved out for himself. His name is Hamza. Let me look it up. Hamza Diaz. That was his name. And he felt that this kind of photography kept him from the usually predictable life that people from the projects sadly go into, like the gang life. Like he was talking about being peer pressured, you know, into joining the gangs and that. And so for him, I mean, he had his negatives, he had his trolls, he had his issues, and he was covered in mainstream media. You know, he got their attention, but with that, unfortunately, at such a young age, he started getting, you know. And then there was another one, this girl in Los Angeles, like a model. And this was another one, both her parents, her mom and dad are divorced, but they're wealthy in their own right. And they were pushing their daughter. I forget what her name was, but they were pushing their daughter into the Instagram life to be an Instagram model. And then the other one, somewhere in Ohio, in rural Ohio, went to a Christian school.
Yeah.
Pretty much a plain Jane kind of girl, but a very shy and socially awkward girl. She said she hated Instagram, but she couldn't get off it.
Yeah.
And all these kids, there was a common thread. The one thing they would check almost as soon as they would wake up, the damn likes.
I can't do that. Like, and I can just imagine what it like, because by the time MySpace got big, I was already 18, 19 years old by the time it got big or whatever. So I didn't, again, we can relate and remember what it was like not having social media. We can remember what it was like just trying to get on the internet. Like, I can't imagine having that around you constantly every day. You know, the cell phones we had were not great. They didn't have great technology. We were lucky if you got internet. Like, you were happy if you could text message. Like, so I couldn't imagine sitting here and those type of platforms being available. I don't know what my mental health would look like at that time. You know, like, I would not know.
No, exactly. No, I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Casey, Facebook is full of drama. Yep, no argument there. I was super guilty of this before I got on lithium. It's okay. I think we all indulge in a little drama sometimes. But at the end of the day, I'm of the belief that life is drama, and I plan to do a video about that sometime on the road, actually. Life is drama. That one, I think I'm going to make into an open panel. In other words, anybody who wants to join me on screen, well, I have to know you. I have to know you.
Right. Don't know what you signed up for.
No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I have to make that specific rule. There was a live stream I caught, and he was holding an open panel. It was Negative Reactions, Negs. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about him before.
Okay. Negs was holding an open panel, and he got porned. Somebody came on, they were backstage, and they showed a head, like a face. Male face. So he let him on, and then no sooner he was let on, in a split second, it turned into this hardcore porn. We got an eye full of this hardcore. So he, get it off, get it off. because you can get your channel taken down for that, you know.
That's just so random.
We're like, quickly, down. That's it. Off. Off. And he had to start a new stream.
I don't blame him. I'm like, what? Like, oh my
No,
God.
seriously. Well, he had no choice because your channel could be taken down.
Yep, sure can.
So it's like, okay, gone. You had a split second of this. Okay. So that's why I implement this rule.
Yes.
I have to know you. So that video coming down the line, I don't know when exactly. It's going to be called Life is Drama. And that one I'm going to have, let's call it a semi-open panel because it has to be people I know. And Kim remembers it. Yeah, Kim, I think you were there, Kim.
That's crazy.
I think you were there, Kim. Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Fluffy. If you are new here, please hit this easy for me to say. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button and also give a thumbs up on the way out the door. And don't forget the little bell thingy to be notified every time we go live. Thank you, Fluffy. And Casey asks, I'm probably referring to what happened to him. Who does that? Well, somebody kind of use your imagination.
And thank you, Fluffy. I thank you for the healing vibes. I hope it's fast too.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Journey to Find K, for those of you who don't know, Journey to Find K has a channel. And so I will have her channel in the pinned comment below as well. So you go show her some love. And you want to talk briefly about your channel?
Oh, just reactions, talking, or it's commentary sometimes about different things about mental health. I react to the Rewired Soul, him and his new wonderful channel. I should be recording tonight, actually, for videos next week. I was going to release a video today. It's probably going to be up tomorrow just because I'd rather let this live stream get some love first. I'll probably put my video for today, which was for yesterday, but then I had to go to the hospital. So it'll be for Sunday, but it's just going to be commentary. I react to the Rewired Soul. We all know, if you don't know who he is, well, my channel to find out. But just mental health, just giving my experience from my experience and my opinion, just kind of like CK does over here, Fedora Chic does with her opinion, doesn't just stick to mental health. I usually kind of try to stick to mental health and substance abuse and recovery kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I can't stay in a niche. What could I tell you? I never could, I mean, I started when this thing was Fedora Hippies in 2018. I started out as a mental health channel, but then, when I had to take off because when my teeth broke, that was a whole other ball of fun that was.
Yeah.
And I came back a year later and I changed it to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chick, and I rebranded as a social commentary channel because A, I didn't want to stay in one niche, and B, I did not want it to run into the trouble that the Rewired Soul does. Not that what I was doing was as problematic as he was. Yeah. I didn't go off judgmental on others, and I don't diagnose people.
Yep.
And no, I'm not obsessed with the likes of Trisha Paytas or Taylor Nicole Dean.
Come on now.
But still, I rebranded as a social commentary channel because there are other issues, There are other issues near and dear to me and important to me, So
yeah, and that's what I say. I can definitely understand. It's hard when there's other things you want to talk about too. It's like I can get why it's hard to niche down like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I covered myself, knowing that about. So I rebranded as a social commentary and story time because I do a lot of personal videos because my original subscribers who have been with me since the beginning, they like that personal content. So I continue to put that out.
Yeah.
But, I do a lot of reactions too, as we all know.
There's a lot to react to.
Reactions. And I have I have reacted to Boutte. But Kay has kind of taken that over for me. For everybody.
Just like this, I got you. It's okay.
So I don't have to, I mean, that over. But yeah, he has Casey said it won't notify her of his vids on his new channel. I don't think we're missing much, Casey. But Kay reacts to those. Yeah, that is confusing because it's the same name. It's the same name.
It's just confirming what a lot of us believed. A lot of us believed, if he had the loyal following he really was trying to show on the first channel, we would have seen it on the second channel. And we don't. So
we're not, are we? It's like
and I feel like because of him trying to build the second channel up, that's why I'm going to pay attention to that channel so much, because you already know what he does when he wants to get views, when he's trying to get that notoriety. I see him becoming more problematic on that channel. So
in other words, same as the old, same as the old.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the newer, lighter version.
No.
Better tasting, lighter, I don't know, less filling, whatever. I'm thinking commercials, but
it's going to end up being, I feel like he's going to go to his old ways, but maybe a little bit more just to drive that traffic back up.
Yeah, I know. Couldn't he change the name of that channel? Call it, I don't know, the Rewired Soul Part Duh.
When you commented that, I was weak.
I don't know, something to distinguish it from the first. I don't know. I realize it's the same content, but
I was like, knowing the fact that you're in, a predominantly French area, and I know you were trying to say like part deux, you said part deux, I was done.
I don't know, something to distinguish it,
Oh, that had me. I literally read your comment and I was done. I was just laughing so hard.
I don't know. I realize the content is the same.
It is. It really is. He gets a little bit more saucy on the new stuff. I'm going to see I'm probably going to react to something this next week about that too. But it's like, and like Casey said, he still posts on his old channel. So it's like, why did we make the new one? Because you're not making the money you want. He really just wants to get back to making the money he was making before. And I'm just like, what are we going to do to get to that point? So I'm going to pay attention.
I don't know. I
pay attention.
I think he's done, honestly. He's done. It doesn't matter how many channels he sets up with the same name and the same freaking avatar and the same bloody content. It goes back to that old Albert Einstein saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah. And that's, to me anyway, that's what he is doing.
Yeah, because we don't see any definite change. We don't see anything that's really like, oh, we're on that path to change,
Casey says, and he still posts on his old channel. Yep, he does. That he does. LOL, I just want to dissect his vids. Okay, that's fair enough. No, he does need to be dissected, even though that is a murky world.
It is.
I mean, ask Kay here. She can tell you how murky it is.
It is. And there's moments where I agree with him. And I've had people that they want me just constantly to be negative and, constantly disagree. But I'm like, if he gets something right or I agree, I'm agree. I think that's what's important on this platform and all on social media, period, is being able to listen to other points of views, different perspectives, and just, learn from it. And I think where we have issues sometimes is where everyone wants it to be, you think my way, and if you don't think that way, then it's bad. Like, I don't like that. That's a narrative that gets pushed a lot, especially on YouTube or social media, period, to where it's like, if you don't agree with everything that I agree with, then there's something wrong. And I'm like, no. We need to have those conflicting ideas and stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Kim says she's heading out. Well, we're going to be heading off very shortly too. But you have a great afternoon, Kim. Yeah. Shout out to my patrons. Kim is one of them.
Hello.
And Journey to Find K is another. Hey. And another is one who calls herself simply S. That's how she wants to be called.
See? Privacy at its best.
Yeah, exactly. I know who she is in real life, but she expressly asked me to just call her S.
And I love that. Like, I think even as adults, we need to, have those moments too, where we hold a little bit back. Like, yes, we're grown, but that don't mean everyone needs to know our whole life story.
Exactly.
Right? I get it.
Totally.
I
So
agree.
yeah, I think this was a very good. I think this was a very interesting chat, and we brought things out to light.
Yes.
We brought problems out to light.
And different aspects of it. It's not just one side of kids on social media. There's so many different parts that we were able to talk about.
Either as observers or content creators, or or just simply having an account. Yeah, we covered all that, and all the, and like I said, in order to solve a problem, you got to first acknowledge that there is one to be solved, to begin with. Because if you don't acknowledge there is one, it doesn't get solved.
Yep.
So, anyways, before we take off, hang on. People think in black and white. If they don't like someone, they're a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see that, but I don't operate that way.
I think we're gray.
Well, just because I don't like somebody doesn't mean I'm going to dislike all their friends. That's doesn't mean I'm going to dislike all their friends. There is somebody who shall remain nameless. A lot of her followers are also followers of mine. And I'm friends with a lot of them too. This is just an example. She might be my nemesis, but her friends I don't have an issue with.
Yep. And even if she says something valid or something that you can agree with, you'll still acknowledge it and be like, yeah,
absolutely, I can. I can absolutely do so. So no, I'm not one of those these cultish people. Yeah. So anyways, yes, you're very welcome, Daphne. It was good to have all of you.
Yes.
Kay's channel, go take a look. It's linked in the pinned comment. Go show her some love. She also has a Patreon if you want to help support her as well. Yes, I'm doing your obnoxiously begging course. I got presumptive. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. So
get fed. You want to get fed, you got to open that mouth.
Exactly. Yeah. I did. Yeah, it was you who told me closed mouth don't get fed. Yeah, you told me that. Yeah. So go show some love. I will also have the not the rewires. The right opinion. Oh, he would kill me. The right opinion. He would kill me if I called him the rewired soul accidentally.
He would.
He's a critic of the rewired soul. Oh God, he would kill me if I did. Sorry if you heard that. I will have the right opinions video about Little Tay, as well as Preming's video on Venus Angelic, and I'll also have Kay and my previous collab from before the holidays. That was a lot of fun. If those of you missed it, that video is time-stamped, so you can go to any parts you want. And as well, I will also have my video about Amy's life journey about the alleged abuse.
Check that one out. Good video.
Thank you. Yes, I'll have that one up because I think it's an important video to watch because, sorry, even though she doesn't like it, we have to hold her to account for. I don't care about her weight, honestly. This is not what it's about. I don't give a crap about that, but I do care about her kids. As I care about any children. So I'll have that video also linked in the pinned comment. I have a lot to link in that pinned comment today, don't I? I'll have to do it all before I forget because we know how crappy my short-term memory is. Okay. So anyways, please leave a thumbs up on the way out the door if you haven't done so already. And
subscribe to our channel. Dang it.
If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and hit that little bell thingy. I know it's useless, but maybe one day they'll get it right.
Right.
Hope springs eternal. Okay, so hope springs eternal. Okay, if you haven't joined our Discord server already, the links are in the description box in the video. If you wish to support the channel, you may do so through Patreon, where I put up a little more personal content, as well as PayPal for one-time donations. And thank you, Casey. Thank you, Amy. Yes, do leave a thumbs up. So anyways, those are the two ways you can support the channel, through Patreon, through PayPal. Once again, thank you to Kay for coming on, and thank you for being a patron, and thank you for being my friend and my sounding board.
Always.
Yeah.
I get what you're trying to do.
Yes, and to Kim as well, and as well as S. And I want to thank you, all the moderators, and all of you who came to the chat this afternoon. You are all awesome. Thank you, Fluffy. Thank you, Fluffy, for putting the Patreon link in. Like I said, all links are in the description box of this video. I will have, I don't think I'm going to timestamp this video because we pretty much talked about the same topic, and we just talked about different ways, different people, but it's all the same topic.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to timestamp it, even though it's pretty long, but this is why you can speed up the playlist, you know.
You can. You can have time feed if you need to.
Indeed. So please take care of yourselves and each other. And if there is somebody in your midst, please take the time to look in on them, share a meal, share a coffee, or just lend that sympathetic ear. Sometimes that's all it takes to make a positive difference in that person's world. And Kay, if you've got final remarks.
No, I like your ending because it's that's something I would say too. And if you ever need help, don't be afraid to reach out to any of your local resources. Google your local 211 resource website to get any type of assistance, mental health, food, clothing. They are there to help you. That is my biggest thing as well.
Cool. Exactly. So anyways, we're off for the afternoon because we've been on for 2.5 hours or 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
3 hours. Okay, really 3 hours. Yeah, time flies. We're having fun. Yeah. So anyways, everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. I may come back on tomorrow night. I may not. I don't know yet. I will certainly let you know when, if I do. So I will take you all in the next one. Straight Talking Fedora checking K out. Bye bye, all. Okay.